Sweet. I would say let's start this.
Let's do it.
All right. Harry,
Andoni.
I want to welcome you to the podcast and thank you very much for taking your time for this. It's your first podcast.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to. I'm already sorry for my English if it's not always on point.
Yeah, no worries.
But I think we will understand each other somehow.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. I noticed, like in the last podcast I made, I always say like this, like when I'm missing on words, like so.
Yeah. I mean, native English speakers do it as well. Like,
yeah. So it's a common thing with like, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So, how are you feeling today?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for band practice as well, right? So
yeah.
I've been. Yesterday I was up late, writing lyrics. Yeah, getting stuff done because I should have done that over the weeks, but that doesn't happen. So. Yeah, and like leaving Claudio like voice messages of like I've got a new idea. I need to tell you right now. I'm sorry, it's last minute. And he's just like, yeah, we'll just try it tomorrow. Sounds good. I mean, he's very relaxed. It's good.
Yeah, it's probably like with school, where you need that pressure. Yeah. When you know, I need to do that stuff by tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%.
Where your brain, like, I heard someone say, like, creativity has, like, no worth without a timed, like, a
deadline.
A deadline. You need a deadline, like,
yeah.
Then your brain, like, works. Notice, I need to write lyrics at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. And probably, like, do you... Like with creativity, are you more creative in the evening where the ideas pop up, or?
I'd say I'm just in general more productive in the evening. So whether that's just creativity or not, but I think a lot of that is the deadline thing, like you said. Like for me, that is my life.
Deadlines are your life.
No, well, they dictate my life, but like I struggle to get anything done if there isn't an imminent deadline. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like, it's benefited me a lot in that I do well in under like loads of pressure in that moment in time, which is why I've done well in exams and everything most of my life.
You did well. Most.
Yeah. But then in the in-between time, when it's not like immediate danger, then I struggle to motivate myself and things boil over. Yeah,
like a lack of discipline. Like
yeah, I guess so. And I think it's also because I have done so well in many ways with this technique of leaving it so last minute.
It works. So why change it?
Yeah, so it's very hard to convince your brain to switch, right? Because you always know when push comes to shove. You know, I'll make it, but God, yeah, the suffering I've put myself through because of that is next level.
Like you mean the suffering because if you don't have a deadline, you just don't do it and always think about it. You should do it.
No,
or the suffering of doing it last minute.
The suffering of last minute.
Yeah,
like you know, the amount of all-nighters I did during my studies.
Ooh, I can imagine. Yeah.
And I just thought that was just normal. Like that was just the way that all students, it's like a rite of passage.
It probably is.
Well,
or not.
When I started my PhD, all of a sudden, I was like, everybody I speak to, they've like never done an all-nighter. And I realized it's because...
They never done that.
No, because I think the people that get to that level, the people that are doing all-nighters usually fail at some point, right? That was my conclusion anyway. So I was like an unusual survivor that's now at this level.
Unusual survivor, I like the term.
Yeah, because like most of my friends when I was doing my physics degree, like some of them dropped out, some of them finished early, some of them didn't get the best grades, you know, because that's just the people I connected with. And I think that's what it is, because I'm more laid back and I don't, yeah, I don't necessarily do stuff constantly like I maybe should be doing. Yeah.
So yeah, to maybe quote your work at the end, Harry style.
Harry style. Oh, you
Harry
read the acknowledgements.
I read it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
Well,
the end.
I tried to. Yeah. The end. Yeah. At the end. So that's Harry style, doing it
last
moment.
Yeah. I mean, it was something that my supervisor said a few times. You know, like. I think sometimes, almost in a sort of jokey, like you probably shouldn't be doing that. You know, like, but he just mentioned, oh yeah, that's Harry style.
Harry style again.
Yeah, like me telling him that I'm only just preparing for this presentation or something, and then, but yeah, he always trusted I'd do it, so I massively respected that.
Yeah,
of him, because a lot of people, and I'm sure he will have got stressed at times. He just didn't tell me about me leaving it way too last minute, but I pulled through.
There's like so many ways to approach something.
Yeah.
And if this is what works for you, then obviously, I don't know. Did you ever like try to, do it like spread all your work over a time so you don't get stressed out last minute? Like,
I mean, I try. I always try. And I've got better definitely now, because the PhD kind of forces you to, and everything else in life. But it still always gets, I don't think I've ever handed something in and I didn't do something on it on the day of handing. Like,
yeah,
I completed it early. I don't think that's ever happened in my life.
That's so refreshing to hear. That's awesome. Like, it really reminds me like how I was in school, always like everything last minute.
Yeah,
everything. But also, I really like the combination of you being a musician, a creative person, and also with your PhD, with your work, which is like super, nearly the contrary.
Yeah,
but also involves a bit of creativity, I can imagine. But writing the work is something that has to do with, it's not a creative process.
Yeah,
it's discipline and how would you describe?
Yeah, I mean that's how people think of it. Like it's this. I was always really good at like maths and physics and music from a young age, right? So, but to me, it doesn't feel like this contrast in, like, for instance, maths, I think is a perfect example. And I've said this to many people before. It's like, people think of it, like you say, it's like the opposite of creativity, but
it isn't.
But it's so creative. It's like you have this toolbox that which is all the rules of maths.
Yeah.
And then you've got a problem that you've never seen before, completely new, right? Basically every time. And then you have to find a way to put together all these pieces in a very creative way to solve the problem, which can be pretty abstract, So to me, there isn't, and I think music is the perfect, it goes hand in hand with maths, because rhythm, it's all just maths.
It's also maths.
Yeah. And yeah, my first instrument was trombone. I don't know if I said that before, but.
Yeah, but trombone is
Posaune.
Posaune.
Yeah.
Also a Blasinstrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it meant that I was immediately reading music, right? That's the point I'm making, that you're reading this language that's incredibly mathematical. So I think it was just the same parts of my brain were working when I'm reading music and when I'm doing maths.
So it's the creative side, but also the more logical side. Like both of your brain parts are working super strong together.
I guess so. But I'm absolutely terrible at drawing. Yeah.
At drawing.
Yeah. Like my dad is amazing at it. It's like his passion, his hobby he's had all his life, and it's just like a gift he can just do. And my brother's also really good, but I'm just terrible. It's funny. Like I do so much music and love it, but art just stresses me out.
but you think probably because I do music, which is something creative, and drawing is also something creative. That
well, and again, that's my when people think that maths and physics is like so far from music, and art and drawing would naturally be so similar. it doesn't feel like that to me. You know, it's like just a completely different bit of your brain, and everything has to be so precise. Like with maths and with music, you can always just change it later. I think that's my problem with art. Everything is so final. It depends what kind of art you do, right? If you're doing digital art, fair enough, right? But like really painting or drawing, if you really mess it up, it's game over, you know, and you might spend hours and hours on it. That's just so much pressure and stressful. And I don't want that.
The analog aspect, like the, let's say I think a bit of analog photography.
Yeah.
When you just have one shot and that's what you have, you cannot change it.
Yeah.
Which also puts something beautiful in it, because maybe the imperfections you see later makes it perfect.
Like,
you know, but yeah, totally. I would think of creativity like mixing colors.
Yeah.
Like you cannot imagine a color that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Impossible, yeah.
Impossible, but you can mix colors.
Yeah.
And then you get a new color, and then probably physics is, as you said, putting knowledge you have together to gain something new.
Yeah.
Which is also music is.
And that's the other thing that I've said to people. Like, I think the way that my brain works in terms of being good at things is like things where I have to memorize very little, but I apply what I know to completely new situations. And that's physics and maths. Is like there's relatively few rules that you have to learn. Like it's still a lot, obviously, but it's all about applying them to like a ridiculous number of situations. Whereas like if you compare that to learning a language or like medicine or something, then it's like a huge amount of kind of disconnected information that you could never work out with what you know. Like you just have to memorize it. It's completely new. It's like, and with a language, it's just every new word. There might be some rules that you follow, but the majority is just, you could never guess what the word is until somebody teaches you, right? So that's in essence the equivalent of if it was maths having like an uncountable number of new rules you need to learn. And for me, that's really, really hard, you know? Yeah. I'm bad at just pure memorization, I guess is my point. I need to understand it, and that's how I remember. Yeah.
So also that there's like a really logical aspect to that.
Yeah.
Maybe you search the logic in things like why, what's the reason, like what is the pattern that leads to this?
Yeah.
And if you can see one, then you can recognize it. And because, yeah, as you say, I mean, I think of Spanish.
Yeah.
You know, when people who are learning Spanish start asking me things like, why is it here like this? But then there's different. Spanish has so many parts where it doesn't make sense. Like you just learn it that way and then period.
Yeah.
Like there's no logic to it.
Yeah.
So, and I can really feel it. Like it's a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Whether as when you, how you say, with the knowledge you have, or it has a reason why it is like that. Like why the sky is blue, you can explain it. It has it's not just blue. It's I can totally feel that.
And it's all logical.
Yeah.
It's glorious. It's satisfying. Yeah.
Satisfying. Yeah. It's probably also with I would say with songwriting, when you write lyrics.
Yeah.
When we've been here in the studio.
Yeah.
There's also a big part which is intuition.
Yeah.
Like where you just work.
Yeah.
Like when you were recording here and you were just saying lines.
Yeah.
You just say what you feel, what is fitting.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't make sense first. But there's a really intuitive part about that.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel that way? Is it like creativity and intuition that there's like?
Yeah, for sure. And that I guess is the one thing where it can make me maybe understand people that love drawing again, to use that. Because when you speak to them, it's just intuition, it's just feeling, right? And I don't have that for art the same. well, maybe
like for drawing you don't
for
have
drawing.
intuition.
Yeah, not the same anyway. But then when I'm making music, then I do. It's like the one thing where I'm, for whatever reason, I'm just so confident always. It's like I immediately know how I feel about this and if I like it or not, or I don't, you know.
Like with music.
Yeah, and everything else, it's like I'm so indecisive in everything, whereas I couldn't tell you why, but I'll always have a strong feeling. If somebody shows me music, I'll immediately...
I like it, I don't like it.
Yeah, and I'll pick out why, you know. Yeah.
As you try to understand why you don't like it.
Yeah, I think that's important, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely one of those sort of music nerds that likes to pick apart every single tiny detail of the music and why I like it, and like, yeah, being obsessed with what subgenre it is. And not that I'm going to get super angry at somebody if they, you know, say that it's the wrong subgenre or something. But like, to me, it's very interesting to understand the mix, and, you know, because each subgenre is essentially a different subculture as well. So from that standpoint, it's fascinating, because even though two types of music might be like sonically very, very similar, like for instance, like hardcore punk and like metal, historically, they in many ways sound very similar. It's heavy guitars, it's angry vocals, but in the past they just absolutely wouldn't mix, you know, because it was completely different subcultures. You know, now it's mixed a lot, but that's fascinating. That was the only thing that was stopping it at the beginning, was just because people didn't like each other.
I mean, there's a lot of elitism going on.
Yeah.
In the metal, like nowadays, not that much anymore, but back in the days,
100%.
Like, oh, you don't. I remember when metalcore and all that stuff came up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, Bullet for My Ballantyne, Killswitch Engage, Converge, SLA Dying, and that's not real metal. And I'm happy we're over all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but also the ideologies where hardcore comes, or punk, and also from where metal comes, they're totally different.
Exactly.
Like,
even though they came to a similar sound, right?
It sounds like, for somebody that doesn't listen to it a lot, it sounds pretty similar.
Exactly.
But if you, I don't know, like you, where you can tell it apart like instantly, like how the riffs are, how the speed is, also the lyrics, what they are singing about. I mean, hardcore and punk is so much about mental health, and I'm just leaning out of the of the window. Is that even a saying? Leaning out of the window. If I wanna.
No.
Now this is a typical moment. It's raining cats and dogs. It's like. Like what I want is, like, you probably know a lot more than I do.
Oh, right.
And so I'm just throwing my opinion out.
I mean, you listen to it too, though, right? So,
I do. But I mean, I can imagine you being a singer, being in bands and stuff, and being so in the scene. Also from the UK. I mean, the UK is such a rich culture. Yeah. I mean, if not the richest culture of music. I mean, it's insane what bands and musicians come out of the UK. I mean, what do you guys drink? I mean, that's
well, I mean, there's obviously we have a head start in that most of the world sings in English, right? So I think that helps.
Oh, big time, yeah.
But then because of that, and you can argue whatever reason it began. I think the biggest thing is just the infrastructure and the culture. So many ultra famous musicians have come out of Britain, so it's in the mindset of like so many people, and so you end up with more top quality musicians, but also the producers that are there, everybody in the music industry that really know what it takes to be massive. There's so much more, of course,
more knowledge around, like they can give it from generation to generation. And that is, that makes sense.
The thing that's interesting. I mean, it's changing a bit now, and I'm not big enough in the music scene to truly know, right? I mean, these guys in Magma Ocean, they've been in the music scene much more than I have,
The old guys.
The old guys.
they will listen. They take care of what we say, but they will listen to it probably.
No, but not just the old guys.
No, with more experience also.
Yeah, also climbing.
More experience.
That's my point, right? Like
I've been
on this path of academia and everything. And that's, although music's always been my passion, it hasn't been my primary focus.
Yeah.
So they know a lot more than me. But the point I was getting to was just, I think, even now, it's still, you've got to go in and record stuff. And ideally, if you're with a producer, you're going to sit with them a lot and discuss and everything. It's a creative process. So doing that with somebody from another country costs so much money because you're going to have to go there. And so it means that bands still, unless you've reached a certain tier, are most likely still going to work with people in their home country.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So again, that speaking of why the UK is dominating, I think that's another reason, you know, because it's very hard for foreign people to come in and reap the benefits of all these great producers and sound engineers and whoever else, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money involved, especially if you fresh new band starting out, and maybe you have the best music.
Yeah.
Maybe you have songs laying around.
Yeah.
Top chart songs, but you need to find a way to get it to the people somehow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, with Magma Ocean, you're pretty, you say, in a good position. You can produce for yourself.
Yeah.
You can do pretty much everything in house.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean,
it's absolutely ridiculous from my perspective. Yeah. Yeah. The means they have to do things is just ridiculous, you know. Like 2 studios. What?
Well, like
not even just 1, 2.
2 studios.
I mean, that is ridiculous.
Welcome to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
But how was it then? Where did you get in touch with? I mean, obviously, I can say like heavy music is like plays a big part in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And where did you get in touch with it? Like, is it from your parents? Did they already listen? I don't know, Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, all that stuff, and then it just kind of, how you say, transcended like to you and.
No, well, it wasn't in some ways it was my parents, but like I was always around music. I think to start with just music in general, my parents and family have told me I would like sort of immediately have this ability to pick up, you know, like if there's a song on TV from an advert or something, like from a really young age, I'd be repeating it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had a lot of quirks where I would just obsessively practice something and get good at some completely pointless skill, you know, like that thing. And also
not even musical.
I could play with my hand. Yeah. So somewhat musical, but just stuff like that. So I think the combination of that set me up well for music. And then I started playing trombone when I was like 8.
Yeah.
So super young with that. So I was already into music a lot, right? And then only as you get older, when you like, I don't know, like 9, 10, 11, I think that's probably the point where you can really pick up music and have a proper taste, right? And a really influential point for me, which is quite funny, is for my 8th birthday party, I went to see the School of Rock in the cinema. Yeah.
It's Jack Black.
Jack Black, yeah. And that was just like immediately life-changing.
School of Rock.
Yeah, School of Rock. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think how many people it must have been the same. Like an incredibly influential film because it was obviously aimed at children as well. So you can be so influenced. And then when I was like 9 or 10, I saw on a music channel like Kerrang or something that Tenacious D, you know, Jack Black's band, there was tribute playing. And so I discovered, he has a band, right? And then I immediately was like begging my mum to buy me the album. And then at some point we're in HMV, which is like a music shop in England. And there it is, right? And it says parental advisory.
Yeah, I just want to say the lyrics are like...
Oh, yeah. It says parental advisory. And it's funny if my mum's listening to this. Yeah, she's discovering things.
She knew it before? Tenacious D?
Well, no.
Yeah.
And she was. I mean, I'm very thankful that my parents were very open. You know, even though I was a little bit younger, they were paying attention. I wasn't just like I could do anything I want and go right. But like, if they see that I had a passion with something, then
they supported you.
They'd
sweet.
Bend things a bit to make sure that everyone's happy.
Sweet.
And yeah, I'm sure she'll have seen it said parental advisory. But the massive benefit I had was that on the bag it didn't say the track names. Ooh. Yeah, it was on the inside. And, you know, one of the songs is called Fuck Her Gently, right?
Fuck you.
Yeah. And I really don't think my mum would have bought me that when I was like 10, if she'd known. Yeah. And then I used to like secretly play it when my parents were out on the stereo system at my home and stuff, blasting it out. And
I'm imagining like young Harry waiting until the parents go out.
Yeah.
Not to jerk off, not to listen to it.
Yeah, 100%. And so that was my beginning on rock, and some of it is like pretty heavy. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to school, then I made friends with people that listened to that kind of music, and it just got heavier and heavier. Yeah. But yeah, Tenacious D is like the first.
Zero.
And that was I think the first album that I ever got my parents to buy me as well.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank God they didn't have the the names,
the
tracks on the back. Otherwise, maybe you would have end up somewhere else.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
super influential.
Also, School of Rock, what I love, it's aimed at everybody.
Yeah,
you know, everybody can watch
film.
it. You can watch it now. Yeah, like a 10-year-old can watch it. A 70-year-old can watch it.
Yeah,
and it's so lighthearted. It makes rock and metal music somehow so approachable and gives it. In general, Jack Black has such a good way to, you know, take things not too serious.
Yeah.
So you think, that's like, it makes it really approachable.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also. Oh, sweet, yeah. All right, so you bought that CD, you got into that music.
Yeah.
And then school, you met friends who also listened to that type of music.
Yeah.
So, and what were it like the typical bands, like, I don't know, then Slipknot and Korn, all that stuff, or?
To some extent. I mean, I sort of started more, I became... I was shown Slipknot first, but funnily enough, at the time, I was like, you know, that was like too much. And of course, when you're in school, especially secondary school, it's like everybody has to be in their place in the hierarchy and in the subcultures.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not like an emo.
I don't cut my arms.
Yeah.
I cut my legs.
I mean, I went full emo by the end, but
you went fully.
Yeah, like straight
30 seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
You had that haircut.
Yeah. And like ultra skinny jeans, and
you could see the veins through the.
Yeah. But yeah, and then the first band that I made later on, the guitarist from that, I like at the end of year 7, so I was like 12. Yeah, then I became friends with him because we lived nearby. So he was absolutely obsessed with Green Day at this point in time in his life. So he introduced me to that and like Sum 41 and sort of pop punk stuff.
Blink-182, like all
but I never really liked Blink-182, to be fair. But
but that era.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then it just went from there. And then one of the first like heavy. Oh yeah, Disturbed RuneScape music videos.
RuneScape?
Yeah. I didn't really play RuneScape, but
you mean the game, RuneScape?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it was massive.
Oh, OG RuneScape. Yeah, I had a membership. I played it a lot.
Hell
yeah.
Yeah, so I had a friend that made music videos on RuneScape. And 10,000 Fists, Disturbed was one of them.
When he went to the, how was it called, the Death Zone?
Yeah.
There was like a zone in RuneScape where everybody was against everybody, where you could attack everyone.
Yeah.
And but you played it a bit, or not?
Yeah, but really not enough to actually, you know.
So I have the pictures in my head with metal music, and
yeah.
That's so great you bring that up. That's awesome. RuneScape, shout out. Yeah. Okay, with Disturbed, he put Disturbed.
Yeah. And then one of the probably the first band where they actually screamed.
Yeah.
Was Five Finger Death Punch, funnily enough. But
yeah,
when they were like, they only had one album out, and the first two albums were absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they start to go a different direction after that. Yeah, which
Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, they're that gateway band for a lot of people. So, you know, I don't hate. In the past, I may have slightly hated the direction they went, but
from Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, well, it was just at the beginning it was so heavy and so and you know, I immediately got attached to that, and then it's like they just dim down the sound as much as they can to make it as accessible as possible.
More radio friendly.
Yeah,
and, like more clean vocals or more pop.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they still scream and stuff, but it's just it's just not got the same grit and power, But loads of people love it, so who am I to really judge?
They must do something right.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was the beginning. And then the metalcore explosion was going on at that point in time. So then we got into like Killswitch Engage, and then there's not that much difference in age between us. But I think also in Britain, from speaking with Swiss people, I think it wasn't hit quite as hard with the whole like emo scene kid like metalcore thing that happened, you know, like Asking Alexandria and Bring Me the Horizon.
Asking Alexandria,
and like there was just an ocean of bands like that, and I'm sure it was popular here, but in Britain it was like it was a massive movement, you know, especially for teenagers. So Bring Me the Horizon was just like me and all my friends, they were just like gods, you know. We absolutely worshipped them. And like his clothing line, Drop Dead, it was just like
Drop Dead.
All we wear,
wanted to dress up like all those guys from those bands and look the same.
Yeah, and like I still love Bring Me the Horizon. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I mean, they have such an amazing evolution.
Yeah, and it's insane, the evolution. Because the first time I saw them was one of the first gigs I went to, 2010.
Yeah.
Bullet headline.
Yeah.
It was the peak of Bullet. Bullet for My Valentine.
Bullet for My Valentine, yeah.
It was their absolute peak. It was where everybody, especially in Britain, because they're British, right? There was just like these are the new era of metal. These are going to be the people headlining the new festivals.
Yeah.
And this got so much hype, and they're headlining arenas, you know, selling out arenas at this point.
Yeah.
In Britain, and Bring Me the Horizon was one of the support acts, but it was when they were just so hated. It was like ridiculous how much people hated them.
How much hated Bullet for My Valentine?
The
Bring Me the Horizon.
Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, people just hurling insults at him, and I also didn't like him at the time, you know, because that was the scene. But then I flipped, and then. But yeah, just the point being, I saw them at that point, and they were so heavy and so hated for all these reasons. And now, they are headlining festivals.
Now they're
absolutely unbelievably huge, right? They're like the biggest metal band of our generation at this point, essentially.
Yeah, they're so influential.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the. I always thought like, because I always listened to that's like. When all those bands came, you know, Bring Me the Horizon, I always listened to it, but I never told friends that I was listening to that stuff.
Yeah.
Because most friends listen more to thrash metal, you know, speed metal, black metal, and that stuff.
Yeah.
So I always felt a bit alone with listening to that music. Also Emu. Which is just chugging.
Yeah.
And and then I asked one time, like, what's so wrong about the music that you have a problem with it?
Yeah.
And like, it's just I think they became famous because they apply, you know, also with the clean singing and the image they have. I mean, you look at thrash metal, and I think thrash metal will never get big. Like, not that it's bad.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't attract that many people. Whereas Bring Me the Horizon or Asking Alexandria, all those bands, they were like more approachable to
especially the younger audience.
And also maybe talking about Ollie Sykes. I mean, for the girls.
Oh yeah, he's a ridiculously attractive man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, which I don't know, like Dave Mustaine from Megadeth isn't. You know?
But they were at the time, right?
Yeah.
To some extent.
But Megadeth is huge. Like,
don't
get me wrong. But just
the difference is just that it's all that, like, I just never really liked thrash and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, again, speaking with people in Switzerland, I think there was just a delay on this new form of metal becoming the most dominant. I think it just took a bit more time here. Mm-hmm. Whereas in Britain, it was like immediate. These bands are just exploding, and this is the new metal scene.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's another reason it was so hated, because for all the guys that like metal is their life, and then this is apparently metal, and it's like they're dressing like women, and there's
skinny jeans. Yeah. What are those haircuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was also, you know, in that alternative scene, it was, I think, massive for people in the LGBTQ community as well.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely saw that, and I was around so many people in that scene that were like gay or whatever. And I think that's another reason, right? At the time, especially back when people would use gay as just a random insult, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was a massive reason that the metal scene hated it as well, because there was this, they just looked at it as like just gay, basically, right? To put it in one word, which is, you know, now it's crazy to look back and think about. At the time, it was just normal, but now it's like unbelievably offensive. Now it was just outright homophobia. Realistically, it's just you didn't see it like that at the time. Yeah,
like in the, you know, in the more common metal genres, like you could say maybe like something toxic in a way.
Yeah,
where it's like super gatekeepy, and also pretty, how to say, a culture that's dominated by men.
Yeah, and that's it as well. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but maybe you're going to say the same thing.
Oh, good. Yeah,
you know, like way more women in the scene as well, and a lot of people hated that, I think. But it's all a good thing. So yeah. So for me, when I got into metal, it was immediately, I didn't like all the old gatekeepy metal-y stuff. You know, I actively dislike thrash and death metal and all this stuff
because of the ideology.
Because of the subculture attached to it. And again, that's what's so interesting. But yeah, that makes me, it's like a weird outsider thing here in Switzerland in bands. It's like most people it's like the new metal scene, like you immediately said, Korn, Slipknot, they're absolutely massive here. Like that is the thing that pretty much all Swiss metalheads love, it seems. From at least people of our age group.
Alternative new metal thing. It was huge. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
And people love that in Britain too, but like, metalcore. It's all about the metalcore life.
The metalcore.
Yeah.
The core. Just put the core everywhere.
Yeah. I love it so much.
I love it so much. It's still recording. Sorry, I need to adjust something.
Okay.
Yeah, the car. That's so interesting. How, you know, how for people music can be like, they identify. Because for me, I never dressed as a, how you say, I never was a metalhead.
Yeah.
In that way, but I always listened to metal since a young age. But I never felt like I need to dress.
Yeah.
Or maybe because I was also super shy.
Yeah.
To show what I do. Or what I listen to. Like, I never liked that people can look at you and already say, he listens to that, he does this and stuff. So, but yeah, you did. You dressed as with skinny jeans and to make it proper, showcase it.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, that's awesome. So and then at one part, you started doing music, like with singing and screaming.
Yeah.
And was it like during that time, listening to Bring Me the Horizon, all that stuff, that you got involved into screaming?
Yeah, I mean, it was just before I got into Bring Me the Horizon, to be fair. But I was like 14, and I had a group of friends that played guitar. And some that played some drums and stuff. So it was just that point in most, I think, teenagers' life where you decide you want to make a band. But the problem, I was obviously a musician. I'd played trombone at this point for quite a long time. And But the problem was I didn't play guitar or anything. So at the beginning it was like, okay, you just play bass. All right, that's
that's such a cliche.
Yeah.
Like so. Oh, but shout out to all the amazing bass players out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. The absolute cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the easiest instrument. You'll pick it up. Yeah. All right, cool. But then at some point I was just like, I don't know, singing a bit in class or something next to one of the guitarists that was going to be in the band. And he was like, oh, yo, you can sing. And I absolutely could not sing. But he thought I could.
Yeah.
So he convinced me to become the singer because we needed one.
Yeah.
And especially at that, when you're like 14, there aren't that many people that are confident enough to be a singer in a band.
Oof. Yeah, you hit puberty.
Puberty, yeah.
Puberty. You hit puberty. Not that much self-esteem and
yeah. And the chance of, a lifetime of ridicule and bullying, right? That's the situation you're in, right? It's
you make yourself pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
Yourself. Yeah.
And so I immediately started trying to scream as well. The first song we did was Unholy Confessions, Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
Oof.
Picked a difficult one. Eh?
Well, I mean, it's got a special place in my heart now for that reason because we just smashed it so much.
Yeah.
And then we and maybe this was the initial trigger. I can't remember, but there was a school competition, music competition.
School of Rock.
Yeah, the classic kind of thing. But just like the parents come in, it was just your standard music evening at a school. But everyone else, they're like playing flute and like piano and stuff. And
oh shit!
Yeah, and then
open this place up.
yeah. I've still got we've got a recording of it. Like we recorded it. I've still got it. And it's so funny because we didn't have a bassist. We were supposed to have a drummer, but he'd never practiced with us. But we just naively thought he'll just show up and it'll be fine.
Right? So you never played with him before?
No, but he was a close friend. He was in our friend group.
Just trust me, bro.
Well, he just doesn't show. He doesn't even turn up.
He didn't turn
up.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
So it's just two guitars.
He's
no
a singer
bass.
now, probably.
No, he just doesn't. I don't think he plays an instrument. But
yeah. Oh no.
It's just two guitars and me. Yeah, and it's hilarious because it's like they keep going out of time and I miss all the notes and but at the time we thought we absolutely killed it.
You probably landed somewhere in a compilation of YouTube
music fails.
Music fails, exactly. Yeah. But it felt good for you guys, and that's what matters. I mean, come on, everybody starts somewhere. And yeah.
And this is what I always tell people. It's like, the benefit for me is I thought I was good, even though I listened back and I absolutely wasn't.
Yeah.
But because I thought that, I kept going, and then you practice enough to actually get good,
Yeah. It's like not fake it till you make it, but just push through. Like, I mean, also can imagine that before a concert, your first time, you feel nervous as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, how can you expect from yourself to nail it?
Yeah.
Like,
but I'd had the benefit of playing in brass bands, and that. There's a bit of a ritual in brass bands for the people to do solos, and I was always the first trombone player, so like the person at the top of the trombone section. So naturally, I'd be the one to play a solo if there's.
So you're used to it.
So I'd
exposed to
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
and that was that would be in many ways scarier because you'd have to just stand up alone, in a field full of people, and it's a brass instrument. It's like. It's a bit brutal to play. Even now, it's like the chance of you splitting a note and it sounds horrible. Like when if you're singing, your voice just cracks completely and you miss a note. It's like the worst thing. People ridicule like crazy for that when you're singing.
Yeah.
But on a brass instrument, it's so easy. You can be an incredible player and you still end up doing that and missing a note completely.
And then you hear it like the shit out of it.
Yeah.
The other guy just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that trained me well. In terms of, and I'd already had quite, I've had my fair share of horrendous experiences messing up playing trombone.
Yeah. but I mean, do you? I mean, you don't start thinking, "Oh shit, I just made a mistake." I mean, you just keep going. And
well, you have to.
Most people don't care. Like it's
I've been in some, like, at one point I got sort of like good enough to play that people were paying me to play sort of like a freelance trombone player in other brass bands, because they often, they're missing somebody. So and in the brass band world in Britain, the big thing is these band contests, and it's a big deal. It's like they practice for months and months and months. Everybody plays the same piece, and they judge it. So they listen to the same piece, and they've got the piece of music in front of them. They know exactly what you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
And they directly compare, right? And it's like a group of 30, 40 people that have all worked so hard for months. And one time I played, and they were paying me as well. And there was this moment where it's like, just everybody's really quiet, and it's just me, and it's like a really high note.
You missed it.
And I completely missed it.
No,
and
Harry,
I'm like,
no.
I'm desperately trying to find the note, and it's just like, and then like panic setting in, and you just, it just makes it even worse, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Could you recover from that? Like
it was pain. It was so painful. I couldn't. It was hard for me to even speak to them, and they were okay with it. Things happen, right? But I felt so bad. I just let everybody down, and they still paid me, but they never asked me to perform with them again. Yeah.
Because of that one mistake.
Well, they didn't tell me that, but I'm quite sure it was terrible for them.
So you asked him how was? Yeah, it was all good. It wasn't behind your back. That was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
So you're used to all that stuff, to being exposed. Yeah. But okay. But wait. That's our. Everybody plays the same song.
Yeah.
At that
and it's written just for it. It's a new piece.
So it's not like, hey, you need to cover that song, or
no.
Or it's a new, yeah. All right. Yeah,
and then the difficulty of the piece is different depending on the section that you're in.
Yeah.
It's almost like leagues.
Yeah.
And like the championship section is just absolutely insane how hard that piece is. It's like there's some of the hardest pieces written for brass bands. Full stop. They're intentionally hard.
But you didn't study like music, or like it's like you took lessons, but didn't study full-time music, like.
No, but I was.
But they still give you like super hard stuff to play.
Yeah, but I wasn't championship level. I was playing in the second section. There's 4. Yeah, but anyway.
Anyway, so there came a point where you changed your instruments for your vocal cords.
Yeah, but I was still playing trombone. And so, when I got to like college, like gymnasium equivalent, then it was this question if I was already doing really well in physics and maths, but particularly physics. But also music had been my passion most of my life. So there was this question of which path I followed. And but at the time I wanted to play trombone, so I would have gone to like music school. Like in Manchester, there's one of the best music schools for classical musicians in Britain.
So where did you grow up in?
In close to Manchester.
Close to Manchester. Yeah.
Preston.
Yeah.
Well, technically Leyland. If anybody out there is listening, I need to be precise. Leyland. Yeah. they made. They're famous for having like a vehicle company, Leyland. They'd made trucks that were all around the world. Yeah. And in the Second World War, they made loads of tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've completely forgotten what I was saying.
You were talking how much you love furniture.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's my life. Furniture.
That's your life. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had to decide
to decide which path you want to follow in your life: music, physics.
Yeah,
you're pretty good at physics.
Yeah. And then I basically messed up some performances that were graded in music at the time, just on the day. It's like just really unfortunate, and didn't do well in the written exam. So yeah, I just didn't get a very good grade in that first year. So it was kind of given to me because I got a really good grade in physics. So it was just the obvious path to take. Yeah. And then I just kept going with the old astrophysics, and here I am.
Here I am now. Having a PhD. But it's you're still doing music, so maybe it takes a bit of pressure out.
And my logic was always that I could always continue doing music no matter what, really, whereas continuing doing physics is not very easy if you're not doing it as your job or studying it.
You don't do physics as a hobby.
No,
not
many people do. So that also felt logical. And I loved it for a long time. I still do.
The physics or
but it becomes a different beast when you're in that on that level, on the research level.
Oh, that's awesome. I always think like sometimes it's not always beneficial to maybe make your big passion music. Or let's compare it with, I don't know, with photography. Where sometimes I think like shit, like maybe you can destroy a passion, if you turn it into a job, because there will be days where you don't want to do it, but you still need to, because you need to make a living of it. And that's how you can destroy passion. So maybe that's why I think pretty fired up about doing music, about going on stage and producing new sound. It's because you don't do it full time. And I don't know, maybe one day you can do it full I don't know, but and also you can, doing it this way you do it, you can really do what you love. I don't know, maybe I can imagine some musicians need to sell out to make a living out of it. I don't know, but anyway, you already had started a band in England.
With like my school friends.
With school friends,
which was a lot of fun. We didn't play that many gigs. We pretty much always played really badly, but we loved it. It's just a fantastic time. But the great thing then that I've missed in bands here, which is just naturally going to happen, is we all came from the same group. We had like almost identical music taste, which of course in the long term can mean a bad thing in terms of innovating a new sound. But in terms of just enjoying yourself making music, it was like just this psychic connection that we immediately know what we're aiming for, right? Which was amazing. And the drummer as well, he just picked up exactly what he needed to, just double bass, right?
This time you
double
had a
kick. We had a drummer. Well, we went through a couple of drummers, but anyway, the final band, the final team. He picked up drums quite late. Now I realize it's a normal time to play an instrument, but at the time when I and my other really close friend, guitarist, we'd been playing for a long time, instruments, and he only picked it up when he was like 14, 15. So for us, that was like so late. And then within like 2 years, he was insane, the best drummer we knew. But just so much, he just knew how to use the double kick and a snare. And the China cymbal. It's just pure metalcore. Purest form. So good.
Man, that's what you wanted. That's the drummer you needed.
And we were
for the music you made.
And there's a really interesting connection to Switzerland in that we all at that point in time just fell in love with this band, Breakdown of Sanity.
Breakdown of Sanity. The Swiss hope in metalcore.
And for us at the time, we just came across it, on like some torrent website,
Pirate Bay.
Pirate Bay.
Shout out.
And it was the guitarist. I think he just came across it. He just just download it, and then we all immediately fell in love with it. And we had no concept of Switzerland or anything, and it was just like this weird quirk that it was just this random band from Switzerland, because like especially back then as well, like we basically didn't listen to any bands that were European. Like we just listened. Well, I know English or European as well, but we just
not that much anymore.
Yeah, but we just listened to native English speakers, right?
Yeah,
just full stop. You know,
just no. Yeah, you didn't even give a chance. If you saw, that band is from I don't know Germany, you just don't.
Well, it wasn't that we were put off by it. We just never really came across it.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
Now we had such a great day just talking about Claudio for an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome, dude. Easy.
I got some mate.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Do you even like mate?
Yeah, I do. I wasn't so keen on it, but then I saw you guys and you were so cool drinking it, and
it's such a
It made me feel like maybe I should. And all the young people seem to be drinking it, right?
It's the new Red Bull. It's the Red Bull of this generation.
Yeah.
You could say, I think.
It's more it's healthier.
Yeah, but it's like fizzy tea, right? Which is a bit weird to my brain even now. It's like iced tea but carbonated, right? But now, I'm getting used to it. I kind of love it now.
The mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come on. Thank you. All right, now won't do this. Crack open a cold one on the.
Should we not do that? That's.
I already did the same thing with Claudio. Cheers, dude. So where were we? When I shaved my butt. Only listening to British or US bands.
I don't think it wasn't in any way intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I just, when I reflect back, I now realize I just wasn't. Like, there was the only band I can think of is Betraying the Martyrs.
Mm-hmm.
We listened to them a bit because a friend of mine liked them, but I was never that big on them. And I think it's, and I've tried to explain, and it's a bit, I just feel bad now being here and understanding the Swiss, it's a big metal scene. People love it, but it's so hard to break through to the native English speakers.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't feel authentic. That's what it is. It's like, and there's so much like slang and stuff that you connect with, especially somebody being English. Like, we're naturally going to connect more with English bands, obviously, because they can reference things that we immediately know. And, And yeah, so just like Australian, English and American bands was what I was listening to most. But my favorite bands were usually English.
Yeah.
Or at least British. But yeah, Breakdown Sanity was just the exception.
Yeah, but the singer of Breakdown of Sanity, is he Swiss?
Yeah, he's Swiss.
Fully Swiss.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I think they're all very Bernese.
Yeah. But like because the accent, if somebody talks, I mean, obviously, you will hear now a difference between you talking and me talking.
Yeah.
No, I won't bring my accent away. So, but that guy always sounded like pretty good.
Well,
as much as I remember.
Yeah, but I think just the style benefited them.
Yeah.
Because it's all screaming.
Yeah.
And so that helps, first of all. You can't really hear an accent when somebody screams.
That's true. Yeah.
But also when he would say stuff, there was a twang to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually gave it this unique kind of feeling.
Yeah.
That we weren't used to. And for whatever reason, just worked. But yeah, they were just the kings of the breakdown, hence the name, right?
Breakdown.
At the time,
better deliver on the breakdown part.
At the time, that was the scene, right? It was just searching for the best breakdown. That's all we cared about, and they were just breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. It was everything we could desire.
Just breakdowns, yeah.
Yeah.
What is for you the best breakdown ever?
Impossible to say, but there's too many.
Like.
I have to think about it for a second. I don't know. I mean, certainly, with Breakdown Sanity in mind, their song Infest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you listen to Breakdown Sanity?
I listened to it, but
you couldn't name a song.
I don't remember the songs and stuff anymore. Like,
yeah.
I saw them at Greenfield once.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's like knowing nothing but the right. But there's a bit in the middle. They use it multiple times. I didn't say the final line. Knowing nothing but the lies. So cliche, but it's so good. And they change. They've got multiple breakdowns in the song, kind of on the same riff, like the same rhythm, same line, but they manipulate it. Yeah. And there's one in the middle that's the big one, and then it has like there's a break, and then it's just the snare, just dum digum 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 king.
I see that part lives rent free in your head.
Yeah, and then
your alarm clock.
Yeah,
Harry, turn that shit.
Right. And then I never saw them because they very rarely played. They didn't tour that much, and especially they did a few tours in Germany, I think, but they only came to Britain, to the best of my knowledge, once, and I couldn't go. My friends went. Yeah, so then I never saw them. They broke up. I lived in Switzerland all this time, never saw them. I lived in Bern, for God's sake. Yeah, and then finally they came back together recently, and I went to Impericon Festival in Leipzig.
Impericon, yeah.
Yeah, and they were playing, and big moment, right? It's like 10 years coming. I was so excited.
Yeah.
They didn't play that song.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It's like, to me, it's so clearly their biggest song. But I mean, on Spotify, maybe it doesn't agree with me, but
yeah, but
it's their best song.
It's on Spotify. It's not in top 5. Like when you open the artist page, it doesn't pop up.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think the album after that is their biggest album on numbers, but before that, it was clear that was like their biggest song.
But not now, yeah.
And just the impact of it, I just can't believe they wouldn't want to play it. You know, it's just so good.
And you're there in the crowd waiting.
Yeah, and I was actually waiting. I was saving all my energy, and then it's the end of the set
on that part.
Yeah. So now I hate that band. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's unfollow on Spotify everywhere.
Yeah. Boycott Breakdown Insanity.
Yeah, let's go and do ourselves on the ground outside. Oh no, I see you're still working on it mentally.
Yeah.
That there was a big disappointment.
Massive.
But disappointing, yeah.
Hopefully, they're following us in the scene and they're watching this podcast.
They will invite you to a personal concert where they just play that song over and over and over again.
Well, they know what the fans want now. Breakdown Insanity.
Yeah.
Infest. Yeah.
I was so like from Parkway Drive, Romance is Dead. So cry me a fucking river, bitch.
Yeah, I mean.
Or from Architect.
Oh.
Yeah, Bone. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
There's blood in the water.
Yeah.
Dun, yeah. Or from Architects, what is it? You had it all, you fucking pigs.
It's so simple, right? It's just right. Oh god,
it's
fantastic breakdown.
Yeah, it's interesting how something breakdowns are obviously like super simple, or not, maybe not all, but it's just more or less chugging and but somewhere I read an article about why metal music resonates so much with so many people. Yeah. And it somehow activates our primal instinct.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, because you look at the metal show, which are like, with the moshing, Wall of Death, with violent dancing and all that stuff. Yeah. Which is, it's like dancing. It's like expressing yourself.
100%, yeah.
And you turn your brain, you get into a flow state of type, and that breakdowns is something so primal, something so barbaric in a way that it's super, it connects with us. So it's the violent dancing. Yeah. Did you ever do that on concert or it's called violent dancing, right? When you
or hardcore dancing.
Hardcore dancing.
Yeah, I think either is fine. In the past, I always knew it as hardcore dancing.
Yeah.
But in the past, I hated it. I was like one of those people, and especially in the metalcore and deathcore scene, it was like these worlds colliding, and a lot of people hated it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it is like actually in many ways more dangerous when you expect like a push hit, and then there's also people swinging their arms around. So the chance of you falling into one of their punches is high. Whereas at like proper hardcore gigs, depends which one. Some of them, they just crowd killing and stuff, right? But a lot of them, they kind of stay in their own zone, and in many ways it's safer. But nowadays I've got a lot more into hardcore, and I still kind of like it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's like I've got into that scene, and now, like I saw Knock Loose in Zurich in the past year or so, and absolutely loved it. I just went on my own, and it was definitely one of the best, if not the best gig I've seen here in Switzerland.
Yeah. And of
yeah,
course, they're also the guys who brought a new album.
Yeah.
out.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You talked.
Yeah. They're just like,
yeah.
they are the sort of new breed of metalcore that's massive, that's getting absolutely huge at the moment. Like really hardcore influenced metalcore is like top of the game right now. And Knock Loose are the kings of it. Yeah, so it is it's like really beat down influence. It's like really heavy hardcore.
Yeah.
So it brings those fans out. But yeah, and once you've enjoyed and experienced that exactly like you said, that primal thing, that flow state, it's like you struggle to get it now in a normal like push pit. Because it's not as intense.
Just
you don't
a normal
have
mosh.
Yeah, you don't have the same fear, right? You need a little bit of fear, and then it makes everything much more memorable and exciting. And Jesus, some of the guys in the Knock Loose pits, the big boys, big boys. You know, I feel inferior, and I'm a pretty big man.
You feel, you're 2 meters.
Yeah, and this is the other thing. I want to be able to just get in that flow state again, where I can just lose my shit. Like you just completely connect with the music, and you sort of share it together, but you're aware of other people, but you're not aware of how you look to other people in many ways. You don't care anymore.
You wouldn't do that on a Saturday afternoon on the train station.
Yeah.
Because it would look ridiculous.
Yeah, but you've lost that. You just feel free, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I've been to some concerts now, and I'm not just going to start hardcore dancing and crowd killing at like, I don't know, a Yumi at 6 concert or something. But but like I saw Beartooth one time in the past, and I really like Beartooth, especially their first album. But I saw him. This was a while ago now, so I wasn't even into hardcore dancing at the time or anything. But I just go in the pit, and then it was like immediately it just stops. Like everybody just stopped moving because they were obviously like afraid of me. Because most of the people there
when
were
you
like,
walked into the
because they were mostly like teenage girls.
Here he comes.
And then I felt, and then I'm so self-aware, and you feel terrible. I'm not trying to make people scared. I'm just like enjoying the moment with everyone, right? But so now these hardcore environments, you can just lose your shit. Yeah. So yeah, that was a long answer to say. Nowadays, I kind of enjoy it, and
that's a good answer.
Yeah. But I also understand why people hate it.
Yeah.
Because if you've not experienced it, and also if it's the wrong place, like if you go and see Metallica or something, like you shouldn't be hardcore dancing there.
No, don't do it.
No, that's
there's
just,
probably children also around.
Yeah, you're a dick there.
Moms
100%. That's not okay. But if you go in and seeing like Terror or Knock Loose or something like,
I mean, it's expected.
Yeah,
it's expected.
Part of the culture.
Yeah,
like the musicians themselves, they do it on stage, right? A lot of them, right? And it looks sick.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
when the musicians do it, like the guitarist, and they're still holding it, and they like throw a kick or something.
It
looks sick, undeniable. I would argue with anybody that says that doesn't look sick.
Yeah, I mean, the stage presence, it's insane. It's huge. I mean, and that's also a way of connecting. The band is connecting with the fans.
Yeah,
with the crowd, and because that's something I always mean. I don't have a specific band, but from all the metalcore, hardcore bands, I went and watched concerts and stuff. Because I like moshing, I like going, but I don't like the kicking and
yeah.
I totally respect it. Like But I was never the person that I go in and now start throwing my limbs around, you know. So, and sometimes I want to go in the mosh, but you know, so I'm like somewhere. And but then again, because I also knew, like, if somebody kicks you or you fall down, people pick you up. Like,
for sure.
You know, it's like one of the most social, how you say, places you can be. It sounds so counterintuitive to say, but people help each other out. And that's so, in that brutality, there's something so peaceful also, like,
we're in it together.
It brings people together. Also, like, sweating together. I don't know which concert, but like no shirts, and then you just start hugging somebody, and you're both sweating the shit out of each other. And that's such a, again, a primal, such a amazing thing to do. Like, where did I want to? Exactly. Influences for you as a singer. Do you?
It's hard to say. Like, certain people are massive. I think, in terms of like singing clean, a clear massive influence is Jack Black again.
Jack Black,
for sure. You know, like singing along to Tenacious D stuff. It was immediately a thing for me. A lot of people say they hear Corey Taylor in my voice. I don't know how much that is just because people only know Slipknot as a metal band, but I have had it several times. I don't really hear it that much, but I've been told it. But in terms of like my favorite bands, I'd say in terms of screaming, definitely in the past it would have been like While She Sleeps and Bring Me the Horizon, but this is why Bring Me the Horizon is so famous in many ways. He's got an iconic scream that's incredibly hard to replicate. It's like, it's unique to his voice. You can't really train yourself to do it, I don't think.
It sounds sometimes like he's hurting himself. Like,
and it's amazing. And I think to some extent he was. And that's the other, like Loz Taylor, the singer of While She Sleeps, he also, you know, he's got broken tattooed here because I think at the beginning he was just destroying his voice over and over and over and over again. And so I think for me, it sounds real because it literally is real. They're blowing their voice out, right?
It's like, that's who they are. They don't try to be as technical or clean with their screaming. That's like, hey, this is how I scream.
It's just raw emotion.
But then with Ollie, I mean, but also he had problems with drugs and stuff, which ruined his voice. But did he do it wrong? Like, because
I think at the beginning, to some extent.
Because if you do that touring and screaming, you can probably destroy your
and I mean, I think he did. Most people say the reason he stopped screaming and they went that direction was because he couldn't anymore, but I don't know if that's true. I think that's kind of just like an accepted rumor that everybody says.
Who knows?
Because he still can scream for sure. But I'm pretty sure I've seen before him saying that it, you know, because he also just couldn't, like, I've watched him podcasts and stuff, them talking about, you know, Sempiternal and Jordan Fish joining the band, and he basically taught all
the keyboarder, sorry.
The
keyboarder. He brought the synthesizer and
and he basically taught Ollie Sykes to sing. And apparently at that point he could barely sing a note, you know, like he was kind of tone deaf.
He taught him how to sing.
Clearly his technical ability and everything will have been, well, he could scream, but like he probably wasn't doing it right at all, you know. But it sounds so, that's what, you know, and it can never be replicated, you know, like for me.
It's unique.
And it's, my favorite Bring Me album is There Is a Hell, you know, massive long name.
Me.
Damn. Because to me, that's like the peak before they started to like
change.
And become technically better. He got way better as a singer. He could actually perform live much better. Because I saw him before and he would skip like every second line because he just clearly couldn't do it. Well, now he's an amazing singer, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to see live and everything. but that raw emotion that was attached to this like imperfect scream, you know, can't replicate now. Okay. Oh, you're going to join the podcast?
Take over.
Harry, how have you been?
How have you been? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Fair.
Fair.
Good overall. And yourself?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Ready to make some music.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Yeah, proper songwriting session with the full band, first time.
It's a long time ago. The last time we did it like that was ages ago.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super intrigued to see how it goes. Yeah. I didn't finish writing the lyrics, unfortunately, but I wrote most of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm intrigued
you got a good call out.
Well, that's the only bit I've sort of unfinished. The funny thing is, it's such a weird situation for me, I guess, because it's just funny. The first song we write together is like this really aggressive song, and you know, to the point where I'm like writing, I'm thinking, do they want me to say this? You know, like, you know, the lyrics before are all kind of like almost family friendly in many ways. You know, I don't give a damn and stuff. Whereas here, I like, you know, I really want to be angry.
Well, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I mean,
hopefully everybody's okay with it. But yeah, like even with Omesis, I haven't written lyrics this angry.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's all just surrounding just you don't like someone, and that's it, you know.
Isn't it for sure?
And also, I like a lot more hardcore and stuff now, so it's massively influenced by that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You sent me Knocked Loose, and I knew the band, but I don't know many of their songs. But I knew they recently released a song with Poppy.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Yeah.
And what I really like about just 1 minute. It's the high pitch screaming.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah. It sounds so angry. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I love it. Yeah. It's funny because we were talking about it before in the podcast as well. Like, yeah, because they're kind of like the kings of metalcore at the moment in many ways. This new wave of super hardcore influenced stuff. And the latest album is just incredible. I've been into them for a while, but the direction they've gone, I've just got more and more into it. You know, they've become heavier in many ways, but also catchier. You know, like whereas in the past they wouldn't have so much chorus stuff. You know, it'd just be more in the hardcore direction. Yeah,
it's insane. They also have a very unique. I don't know if it's unique, but their guitar tone.
Yeah.
It's like very chainsaw like.
Yeah, death metal.
It's very like Swedish death metal.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah. You can take over.
No, you can. I go home. No, you can do the rest. Cloudosphere. Come on. Alright, so what time is it? Actually?
It's like 20 past 12.
20 past 12.
But I think, you know, even when they're setting up, we could still... I don't do anything anyway.
You won't do... I mean, we can keep talking. Like, if you are still enjoying it...
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Then, I mean, I don't... I mean... Just stop. Like.
We will just set up.
Yeah, easy. I mean, it's good if there is life around, you know, if people are moving. I like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I didn't say hi to you, Claudio. Yeah, we do that later in the proper way.
Yeah.
Yeah, all three on the toilet. So yeah, the musical influences we're talking about Oli Sykes.
Yeah.
About being authentic with your voice.
Yeah.
Because that's something probably if you learn how to sing from the get go. Get go is if you just do it from the beginning.
Yeah. Like immediately.
Immediately. You lose maybe your characteristics about your voice.
Yeah, to some extent. It depends what you want, but that's something that's what I always like in singers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of it sounding too polished.
Yeah,
you lose something.
Make it more raw and yeah. And but you never took lessons, right? You are self-taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes it sound so good when you say yeah. But I mean,
together in solitude.
I mean, the story of that is that I was screaming, singing at the beginning, but then quite quickly I discovered that I can't do both at the time.
You can.
I can't.
You can't.
No.
Yeah.
So I realized if I was screaming so much, I'd kill my voice such that I could still scream, but I couldn't sing clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that point in time, I lived for the breakdown. So there's no question. I'm going all out screaming, right? So that was my focus in the other band.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't focus on, there was a tiny bit of clean singing that I did, but it sounds so raw. You know, maybe I can show you at some point.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's unbelievably raw. To the point where I actually wanted to do another take, but they were like, no, we love it. It sounds authentic. But even now I'm like, I don't know. It's a bit much. But anyway, from that, I wasn't in bands anymore, and I just sang in my free time and stuff. And then, the big trigger for me in terms of getting better at clean singing was singing at karaoke's.
Karaoke?
Yeah, like it's not that popular in Britain. People do it, but it's like, it seems more popular here. And especially in
Japan, in Asian.
Oh yeah, massive there.
It's massive, yeah.
But, well, yeah, to be fair, it was the first time, the big trigger in karaoke for me was when I was like in Asia, in Southeast Asia, and in Australia. Because I lived in Australia for a year.
I didn't know that.
All right, yeah. As an exchange
Down
student.
under.
Yeah. And in like a hostel somewhere.
Yeah.
Singing Nickelback. How You Remind Me. And I got this big response immediately.
Like, it sounded good.
Well, I think it probably didn't sound great, but people liked it.
Yeah.
So that was a trigger, and then I started looking forward to karaoke.
So it gave you confidence.
Yeah.
And
realizing people like it when I sing clean, right? I'd never had that before. I wasn't doing that with the other band, really. And and then when I started my PhD, in conferences, in astrophysics at least, they live for the karaoke. It's hilarious.
You didn't expect that.
No!
It was such a thing.
They love it.
Let's do karaoke after school.
Yeah.
Every day.
That was what it was getting like.
Yeah.
By the end, I built a reputation, and but then I was excited. Now it's like I get to perform.
Yeah.
And I'd always get such a great response at these karaoke events. So then
it's so funny. But it's awesome getting through karaoke to clean singing.
Yeah.
So funny.
And so then I practiced it more and more, and then I sang at my wedding, and that was kind of
at your own wedding.
Yeah. And so that now I'm doing a performance, right? And then I decided I wanted to join a band and probably sing more clean stuff. But at that point, I didn't know if I'd just scream or sing clean. It depended on the band.
It's out of curiosity, what did you sing at your wedding? Which song? Surfacing by Slipknot.
No. Well, actually, I sang two songs. One on my own with my friend playing acoustic guitar, which was just like a love song. And another one with the metal band.
Like playing metal at a wedding.
Yeah, it was sick. It was
why not?
It was so good.
Yeah.
Just like fully kitted out. We're all so smart. Yeah.
It's Wall of Death in a church.
James, you know James Arthur? Do you know James
No,
Arthur? It's really popular in Britain. English guy. I forgot the name of the song, and I can't even remember how it goes. But it's like pretty much his biggest song. I mean, 1 million people will sing it at weddings, I'm sure.
It's a typical wedding.
Well, yeah,
song.
extremely typical.
Yeah,
but I knew that Ken really liked it, and I felt the lyrics fit quite well.
Yeah.
And he's got a bit of a husky kind of rock voice. So I thought it would suit me well. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Where were we? Exactly. Yeah. You then you in the next bands you started with more clean singing.
Yeah, with Omesis here in
we left
Switzerland.
there. Yeah, with Omesis.
Yeah, because they just. It's funny because again, it's like a cliche. When I joined them, from a lot of them, it was like the first band. The guitarist, the lead guitarist, Mulu.
Mulu.
It was his vision to make a band.
Yeah.
And none of us knew each other before this band. And his life was really revolved around motocross. Really, really good at it. Like getting pretty far in the amateur scene, and his dream was to be a pro. But then he had a really bad accident, and that just killed his career opportunities. So then a lot of his friends really liked metal, but he was never that into it. But he'd started to get into it more. And then, he just decided this is going to be my new passion, music.
Yeah, music.
Yeah, and then he bought a guitar from a friend, really cheap, played it for like 3 months, and then immediately asked, on forums to try and join a band.
Yeah.
And not just
Pretty confident guy, eh?
Yeah, and not just let's just have some fun. It was like, I want this,
serious.
I need motivated people, we want to go for it, and he knew that from playing guitar for 3 months. It's insane.
Yeah.
So then about 3 months after he sent that original one, so the drummer joined first, and then I joined.
Yeah.
So then I've just turned up and it's just a bunker, just like in the countryside outside of Bern. And I'm singing through this karaoke mic.
But that's familiar. That's it's the karaoke, bringing the good vibes from the. Yeah. So you had to do clean singing. That was a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is, it was just technically but also the drummer wasn't so used to playing like heavier stuff at that point in time. So they just weren't able to write something heavy enough that suited me screaming all the time. Yeah. So it just immediately I had to sing clean. But that was a bit of a challenge at the beginning.
So you adapted your voice to the instrumental part. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also became a bit heavier.
Yeah,
because
over time.
Of you, or
massively. Yeah. I mean, they liked it as well, but especially with Mulu just starting guitar and just getting really into the scene and learning a musical instrument. So the way he would perceive music was changing dramatically. So basically, he was so open to be influenced, right? And for me, being the music nerd I am, I was just like, my disciple, come to me. So I just influenced him so heavily on everything I loved.
Yeah.
So then he just got into much heavier stuff. Yeah.
You formed his musical taste.
Yeah.
He has today.
At the beginning, for sure. I mean, now because my taste has changed a bit. So yeah, and being in Switzerland, that's another thing, because I was now completely separate to all my old school friends and stuff that listened to the same music and really came from the same scene. It sort of set me free in a sense of it's not like I need to impress anybody, not that it should matter anyway, but when you're in that group, you're always, if you listen to a new band, you want to show it to them and you want everybody to like it, and you often get ridiculed for suggesting something so bad.
Yeah, or maybe something that is totally different.
Yeah. From what, especially as a teenager and stuff, right?
Yeah, so culture type thinking, you need to do this, listen to this. And yeah.
But now it was if I like it, I know I like it, and I'll just listen to it. And I had now sort of had the confidence to truly fall in love with the band completely alone, But then I've now the problem with that is you go on a path that no one else takes, you know. So now it's like
everything is possible.
Everything's possible, which is great, but like finding somebody that loves the same band as me is really hard. Yeah. And that's what's the crazy coincidence of this band, in that like straight away
with Omesis or
with Magma Ocean.
Magma Ocean, yeah.
Like straight away when I joined, Claudio was like, "Oh yeah, I saw that you like Brutus, right?" Which is this like I don't know if you listen to them at all.
I saw them live in.
Oh, you saw them? Yeah,
yeah. Claudio asked me if I wanna join, and I didn't regret it. Like, wow, amazing music, really. Yeah.
But like, I came across them a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And just immediately was hooked. Like within a week, I bought a T-shirt.
Yeah, and you had it during the music video. You had the Brutus shirt.
Yeah, because I love them. It's my favorite band, and it has been for years. And it was just like
shout out
immediate. Yeah,
yeah.
And I've just not been able to find anyone that like, you know, they'll listen to it and they'll be like, oh yeah, it's good, and they're impressed, but they're not going back and listening to it on their own. You know, like I was every day. And and then as soon as I joined, Claudia was like, "Oh yeah, I love that band."
It's like
I'm like, "Oh, yeah," not
such a relief. Or
and he even played with them, right? That was how he was introduced to them with Stallion.
Yeah, I think
they were on the same festival.
He slept at they gave them, how you say, a place to be, and when they're from Belgium.
They're from Belgium, yeah.
Belgium, yeah.
Well, they slept at like with Stallion's place.
Yeah, or yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or they spent something. Claudio,
you spread it.
Where did you
spreading serious rumors?
Where did you spread cheeks?
Claudio slept with Brutus.
No, with Brutus. What was the connection with Brutus? They gave you.
No. We played with them.
You played with them
over Hammerboard.
Yeah.
In Munich, no, in Hamburg.
Yeah.
And then I met Stan, the top player, the bass player, and Peter.
Yeah.
And we chatted a little. And
I
got to know them, and they, and then I saw them twice again, because they invited me to watch their show in Zurich.
In St. Gallen, the Grabenhalle, yeah. Also, there's the connection, yeah.
But they actually invited you as well, right?
Well, so they said if I want to watch some of their concerts in Switzerland, I just should hit them up. Yeah. And they put me on their guest list.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. So humble guys. So
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I really need to speak to him again, where I'm like more of a normal human being.
Because next time when they come, we come.
Yeah. Because when I spoke to them, I think I already told you, right? But I saw them in Switzerland, and I was just like so starstruck. Like
you didn't know how to act.
I couldn't act like a normal human. I was just and so it would be nice to speak to them in a more informal environment where I've got over that and because they're just normal people. But that's what I like about them so much. Like, you know, you see that in the music, in the way that they present themselves and the way that they perform. Is like they're obviously nice people, and you know, it's not all about like an ego thing. It's all about the music. Yeah.
But when you meet them, you get into that.
Oh yeah.
Starstruck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it'd been a while as well since because of COVID and everything. I think that was maybe when I started listening to them. But it'd been a long time before I saw them that I'd just been obsessing over this band.
Happy Claudio introduced me to them. So, yeah, great music.
Every venue, they have such a great sound.
Yeah.
They really put a lot of effort in their live settings.
I desperately... sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I desperately want to see them in Belgium. They're massive in Belgium. Have you seen that? Like the contrast is big. You know, they're popular worldwide, but it's unbelievable how popular they are there. Like my friend went to Grasspop recently, and I begged him to see them for me. And I mean, I can show you the video he sent me. It's unreal. Like they played in a tent, but you know, like when a band plays in a tent and they shouldn't be. It was that. It's like the tent is completely full, and then there's just like you can't even see the end of people outside the tent.
Oh.
And they clashed with architects on the main stage. And what the hell is going on, right? Like they're clearly absolutely massive in Belgium.
They should be on main stage, huh?
Yeah, in Belgium without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like every time they play in Belgium, it sells out immediately.
But yeah, they play a lot of main stage shows.
Yeah.
So last year they played at Rock am Ring and many other festivals, and they like doing headline tours in the US.
Yeah.
That's so.
They're ridiculously big, actually.
Yeah, but I think the shows they're playing are small, though, right? Like, it's popular, but compared to Belgium, you know, they're like, I'm quite confident they could sell out an arena in Belgium. They just choose not to yet, I think, because it's ridiculous how fast it sells out. I think I also get the impression they prefer to play in tents, because at most festivals I've seen, they play in, even though they probably shouldn't, they play in a tent because of the sound quality, right?
Last year they played like somewhere in the Alps.
Yeah, I saw them like a week before in Bern.
Crazy scenery.
Yeah, and then I saw the pictures of that, and I was so jealous. Like I wish I'd gone to that one. I just didn't. I wasn't aware of that concert because that looked unreal. And that's another great thing about them. They play like they play the smallest shows and the biggest. I mean, they play a stupid amount of shows as well, right? They tour like crazy. But yeah, they don't seem to care really if they play the tiniest show or the biggest. It
just seems like they love doing what they love, no matter if there is 10 people around or 1,000. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. Maybe we should stop talking about Bruce. I could talk about that for another 2 hours.
Ah, yeah. Starstruck again. Summerside.
Yeah.
How it was for you the biggest stage you've ever been.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you probably were nervous before you went on stage.
Oh, I was so nervous, yeah.
From what I saw on social media and everything, you looked pretty confident. Like,
yeah, it's all an act.
But you just, But how did it feel to go on stage? What went through your head?
I mean, I think once I'm on stage, I don't really feel that nervous anymore. But I was super nervous before. Like, I haven't been that nervous for a concert for a long time. Yeah, you should just ask Ken. I was stressing out.
No, yeah, that's what he called me this morning. Like, hey, do you have something to eat? I need to bring something.
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
Yeah,
you didn't eat. Oh,
yeah,
I forgot to eat.
No, I couldn't. I was too nervous. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I practiced so much. Yeah. But part of the problem was I didn't know all the lyrics. I still didn't know all the lyrics, like maybe 2 weeks before the show.
Yeah.
So then I needed to practice a lot to make sure that they were completely internalized.
Yeah.
Because it's like the worst thing that can happen, right? So
you don't want to think about it. You just want to let it flow through you. And
yeah. But I don't think I've ever practiced that much for a concert. You know, I was just doing the full set every night.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks. Yeah.
That's the deadline thing.
Yeah, 100%. It's the deadline
thing again, yeah.
But I have played, like the first show that we played with Omesis was a weirdly large stage. Just in general, it was, for the event as well, it was just such a strangely large stage. It was great. It was a great event. But so I have been on a stage, you know, on that direction. Never as big as the one at Summerside. But I've never had the run out thing into the crowd, which I was pretty excited about. So that was cool. And every time you walk out on it, everybody just like, yeah.
Like you just walk, it's like,
yeah. And I've never had pyro. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
But did you knew that you had pyro?
Like, we knew like a few days before.
It looked insane. Like,
yeah, it was insane. Yeah,
you guys were getting the Rammstein treatment.
But that was another thing that I realized, like sort of during the show, and also watching the guys in Chakra afterwards, that I think partly because it was raining, but all the monitors were like not right on the edge of the stage, right? and also the pyro was really at the front, so you don't set the stage on fire. But for me, it was like, it feels very strange not to be right on the edge of the stage, because I'm always playing small stages, so I was always like right at the front, right next to the flames all the time, which maybe isn't ideal.
In flames.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. It was so, I've always wanted to just run out and take the microphone off the stand. I was saying it's Claudio before. Yeah, because I asked for the mic to be, the question was, do I want the mic before I go on or leave it on the mic stand?
So you had it on the mic stand, and then when you
then I just immediately take it off. I don't need the mic stand.
You just wanted to do that.
Yeah, I just wanted to do that. Yeah.
Like, but what is it from a singer that you're a fan of that also does, or
I think loads of singers.
It's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, I mean it's often just set up like that. I think.
Yeah.
But then like metalcore bands and stuff, they don't need a mic stand. So. Just yeah. I think there's a few shows from, I keep mentioning While She Sleeps. I guess they're a big influence on me without necessarily knowing it. But yeah, there's some old shows from them where it's just insane, the stage presence, right? And he just immediately takes the mic stand.
It's like, how you say, it ignites something also in the brain from the crowd that like, now it's
shit's getting real.
Shit's getting real.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you remembered all the lyrics, so the practicing was worth it.
Yeah, but to be fair, at the beginning my voice went a bit. I think just because of nerves, like my throat was just so dry. So I just, and once you've played enough shows, you have many times where your voice just goes, and it's just a part of life. But yeah, so I immediately was struggling to hit notes, and then you do what you can to survive. But I thought, oh God, this is going to be my experience now.
So not off to a good start.
No, but then my voice came back, and the worst thing you can do is show it. Right? It's like, that's another thing. Talking about Ollie Sykes, he. Even though there's been many times where his vocal performance has been a bit off. Yeah. Especially when he just learned to sing. I mean, you can't really blame the guy.
Yeah.
But then he'd still put on an insane show, right?
No matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Because
commit to...
You've got to commit, And even if it's like, you've still got all the instrumental, and you've still got, well, for us, not so much, but in future, hopefully people that know the song. And so... it's about making sure they're still having a good time.
Yeah.
And you also just don't know how much they're really hearing it. I hear every single mistake, obviously.
Yeah.
And feel it, but they might not notice in the moment. So, yeah.
Probably won't. I mean, you're probably the most critical person.
Yeah, of course.
If you're on stage and you know how it needs to sound. I mean, the people in the crowd don't know every single... They won't hear it probably. Also, then you have the guitars, bass, drums. You have so many things. So if you miss one part, it's
yeah. But for sure, it's like a bucket list kind of moment, right? To play on a main stage at a big festival with pyrotechnics.
Well, then congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
I wished I could have been there with you guys to capture everything.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? But there'll be more shows, so it's fine.
Of course, I think in 1.5 months I'm coming with you to Madrid, I think. Yeah, so really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So already it was awesome being in Suose in the room with all of you guys.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see you all also practicing getting the crowd stoked, to move around. And did you just go by feeling what you want to say, when, I don't know, clap your hands or move around or want to see a wall of death, or did you also plan it a little bit?
I think it's a bit of both. It's hard for me to go in completely blind.
Yeah.
It's good to have a feeling, or I've already thought a little bit about different parts of songs and where it would really work for different crowd interaction. But a lot of it is like, I sort of think of every single possible moment that I could do it. And I've had it in my head a bit, and I won't necessarily pay attention to remember every single one. But then in the moment, you've sort of got it somewhere in your brain to think, oh yeah, now's the right moment to do it. And most of it is I just like to sort of have a little bit of a basic structure in my head of the things that I could say, but not like the precise way I'm going to say it, you know. I just have the theme in that moment.
Yeah.
And like when you have to do a speech, there's been some times where my mind has just gone completely blank and it's absolutely horrible. So I always make sure I've got lots of things in my head
that you can pick out of. Okay, I could say now this or that. Yeah. That's so interesting that when it's time to perform or say something in front of a crowd, the brain can go like bam.
Yeah.
Like knock out. I had like a few months ago. During a premiere of a video I did, I had a crowd in front of me, and I prepared a small speech.
Yeah.
I said something completely different.
Yeah.
I was standing there on the stage. I don't know, people all in front of me, and I'm like, thank you for pizza. You know, and it's like, I have a lot of respect for people who can go on stage and
just fire
out in front of thousands of people. I don't know, stand-up comedians and stuff like
crazy.
Come on,
yeah.
Come on, that's insane.
Yeah.
Thinking about it makes me. Yeah, but I mean that's something that will. I mean, with Omisis, you have stage. I would say you
experience.
Experience.
Yeah.
So with Magma, I mean, it's the more you do it, the more confident. Yeah, you could say the more you know what to say, and it just takes time. Yeah. But you know, we see big bands performing really good and doing it perfectly that we think, we also need to do it.
Yeah.
Like that. So.
Yeah, but again, it's like inspiration of what, because for me, I get really put off by bands where it feels like too much of an act, even though I'm preparing myself in what I'm going to say, but I don't want it to be so
forced.
Yeah, and
this is the best festival.
Yeah, God, I hate when people say that.
Yeah,
like of course that's not true. You say that to a million people, probably quite literally.
You're lying to them.
Yeah, but I get it. They want people to feel connected, but I don't know. It's like it can feel way too choreographed.
Yeah, totally. You also notice it in the tonality of how people say it or body language and stuff. Yeah.
So I try that's why I said it's like a theme, but the exact way I say it, I don't want it to be exactly the same every time.
Yeah. It's go with the moment, go with the flow, what feels right in the moment. And yeah. Also what music should be, going back to also what you like about vocalists with being authentic, being just having that edge or that being a bit rough maybe, or just yourself. Even if it's not perfect, it will resonate better with people, I think, if you're being authentic.
100%.
Also if you maybe say something and it's not perfectly phrased or anything, I don't know, it's probably more sympathetic. So yeah, that's great. Awesome. Yeah. That's I don't know if we should land the plane slowly. This I'm looking at my. There's so much stuff. Because we talked so much about music, but it makes sense to talk about music with you. One thing that I'm curious, because obviously I'm a son of migrants, of Spanish people. How did you experience moving from England to Switzerland? How was it for you?
I mean, there's so many different ways I could answer it. I think
sorry for changing gears completely the topic, but
no worries. I'm just trying to think the best way to describe. I mean, I think the best maybe to start just with my mindset at the time. I just desperately wanted to travel, basically. You know, I was like addicted to traveling. At the time I just saw it as that's like my sort of main passion in many ways, and everything else is just a means to travel, basically. Going to Australia got me hooked, and I traveled through Southeast Asia for like 3 months in that time, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was incredible, and I think it just suited my personality in every way. And so I was searching for that again. And that's why I just didn't want to stay in Britain, really. But I'd also become, attached to astrophysics and everything. Like, obviously, that was a passion as well. But at the end of the day, the driving factor was that I wanted to travel. And I saw that PhD, there was the benefit of you can go to conferences all around the world and I can move abroad. But I didn't really care where I went, in many ways. I was applying all over Europe. So, yeah, it just happens to land in Switzerland.
That's a coincidence more.
Yeah, it's just the project was great. And this is the funny thing that I say. My mindset wasn't so driven by, I have to do this specific project. I was quite confident that I'd enjoy any of them. But if you were to ask me at the time, for all the ones I'd applied for, which one would I take if I was just offered all of them? I think I would have taken the one in Switzerland. Yeah. Yes, but it was the only offer I got.
So it's
crazy. But the thing is, I guess, in the interview and everything, they saw my enthusiasm even more so than any of the other interviews.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I got it partly, right? But crazy coincidence that it was just the one that I wanted.
Maybe the planets were in line.
Yeah, 100%. And so then...
For you, yeah.
Then it's... But I didn't really know anything about Swiss culture, about Switzerland, nothing. It's just, people have a lot of money and there's mountains.
Yeah. You can take a look at my bank account and say to prove you from the opposite. You didn't knew much except the typical cliches.
And I thought I saw it as an opportunity to learn another language as well. But then there's a lot more difficulties in making that transition than your sort of naive view beforehand.
Kind of jumping into cold water, more or less.
Yeah. But at the beginning, it doesn't really matter, and you're just in this bubble in the academic world, and everybody's from all over, and I've always liked that, and I think I've got so used to it now. But if I was to move back to England, that would be something I'd miss a lot, and something you do gain by being a migrant, a foreigner, in that you automatically connect with people from like all over the world.
Yeah. You need to. You have no choice.
Yeah,
you need to connect. Yeah.
You just naturally come across more people. Like if you're Swiss, you might only be basically around just Swiss people, depending on where you're from, especially if you're from the middle of nowhere in Switzerland. It could be that is your entire experience and there's no reason for you to bump into foreigners.
Don't need it to survive.
No, but as a foreigner, you're naturally going to, right? And so I really like being around people from everywhere.
Yeah.
But the language thing has become like that's a bit of
your Achilles heel.
Yeah, massively. And after a long enough time, you sort of build a complex around it, and it's frustrating. But I'm sure I'll do it in the end. I have absolute intention to. It's just I've never felt like I have time. And you could say I'll always be like that, but it's been quite the roller coaster.
You need a deadline for
I need a deadline.
I need to put a deadline.
Yeah, I know. But I've had to get a job and all this stuff after my PhD, and finishing the PhD was brutal. It was absolutely brutal for me. So it's just not. I've never had the time where I could prioritize learning a language because I don't need to.
You can with the English.
You can survive.
You survive everywhere.
Yeah, but after a while, when you're living it every day, it becomes punishing. Yeah, like I just hate being in these situations where I can't communicate with people because I would say I'm quite a social person, and I really value socializing. And then it just eliminates that side of you. Sometimes people think you're really shy and stuff, and that's just the life of a foreigner. Yeah, you just can't. It's impossible to communicate, and. Yeah, I hate that. But I'll get over it, right? I just need to learn the language, Yeah. I know the solution,
Just need to commit to the solution or maybe it's,
I just need time. I think when I have a job, like a proper job, which isn't 6 months' time and I'm not applying for jobs constantly, I feel that's the moment I can. I hope. That's because I don't have to stress about finding a job. Everything I do in my free time where I'm practically trying to do something, it really should be something that's going to help me get a job. And obviously learning German would, but it's the most important thing is having experience and technical ability in a field that I don't currently have. Like German, I'm never going to be, it's going to take me years to be able to speak German on a level where I can perform my job in it.
Especially with all those complex words and
yeah. So it's just not possible. But anyway, there's many things I love about Switzerland, though. It's not. I don't want to just be negative. It's like it's.
Oh, that was negative.
Oh, right.
No, don't get me. I didn't took this as negative.
Okay.
Totally not. Like
because I think you naturally go towards the struggles, right, rather than the positives. It's
it's how you say, it's a struggle. I mean, every migrant will face that struggle. I mean, my parents took a while to learn German. They don't talk it perfectly, but you can talk with them. They have the typical foreign or German. So it takes time, but I think it's important to invest time. But you just didn't had it because of the PhD, which I can imagine is probably insane, time consuming. So it will come the day where you can speak good German. Yeah, sure. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I believe in you, Harry.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
But
it's a necessity, and that's something, that now I have experience of as well. That it is crazy to the level it affects you. Not being able to just communicate with people. It's insane.
It can be agonizing.
Just because you've got this social anxiety now. It's just based on language. It's like every single interaction I'm fearful of it going in a direction where I just can't, there's nothing I can do, and I might offend someone, and
you say something wrong and it can get awkward, or
and people are misjudging me completely, and or you just want to help people, you want to be able to help, but you can't, it's like
maybe somebody asks for the way and you I cannot,
or you want to join a club, or you want to learn a new skill, or all these things, it requires speaking the language.
I can.
So the solution is you should all just speak English. There we go.
I just stopped. Actually, we should have done the podcast in German.
It would have been very different. Yeah, we would have learned my name, where I'm from, my address, my pets, my favorite color.
It's your favorite color. Is Hund. It's the recording. I have one anecdote I have from when I was traveling in South America. I was meeting sometimes from the US people. This is nothing against people from the US, but he could only talk, like, I can also talk Spanish, and sorry, I don't want to flex with my...
It's alright, you've done it now.
But I could, like, in South America, like, it benefited me pretty much. And there was, like, one time we met this American guy, and then, of course, we only talked English, which is totally fine. But then sometimes I didn't understand things he said because he was talking so fast, and then one time he was like mocking me, like, because I couldn't always understand, and I told him like something, hey, you know what? We only talk English. You talk English because it's the only language you know. I talk English because it's the only language you know. And then he shut up.
But that's it. That's a good point, because you're absolutely right, and I know that, right? And after a while, it becomes terrible, feeling like you're a burden on other people as well. I hate that. I know that you're doing this for the benefit of me, and if I'm in a social circle, everybody has to switch to English. And it's like this big burden. So then I just don't want to do that to people, right? And then it makes me isolate myself.
Yeah, but I think probably you are harder on yourself. Because, like, for me, I always think, oh, cool, I can talk English again. I can bring it up. I think Swiss people, or, I mean, also in this, like Claudio and everybody's probably, oh, now I can talk English again, Because otherwise we don't get the chance to. But then you think, oh, no, I wish I could talk German. So you think people are thinking negative about it, but I think we're way more positive
on average. Yeah,
on average than you think. But I get you. I totally get you that you think it's a burden.
Yeah.
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 But yeah. The positives you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Or sorry, did you wanted to say? Did I interrupt you?
It's just hard to think of any positives. No.
Podcast over. This was Harry Ballantyne.
No, there's so many things I love about Switzerland. You know, it's like the obvious things is, you know, it's a beautiful country, and I love the outdoors and
the mountains.
Yeah, I love mountains, like 100%. I seek out countries with mountains when I'm going abroad and stuff. So that was something I really didn't like about moving to Basel, because being in Bern, you're very close to the mountains, and I love it. People get paid more. That's quite nice.
yeah, we also pay more.
but you know, I don't know how much it's just my own circle again, but like the international multi-culti thing, as people would say, in German, is massive in Switzerland.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, which I love as well. Swiss people are an interesting bunch. Yeah, I mean, the culture's super interesting, right? This super diverse culture in such a small country is insane.
Yeah, totally. That you have 4 languages.
Yeah.
Like, and every region has its different accent.
Yeah.
And then you have all the many migrants, you know. I mean, all the Spanish, Italian, Portuguese people, then from the Balkan. It's so, yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's multicultural.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, like the Röstigraben.
The Röstigraben,
yeah. Like, that's funny to me as well. That's like such a strong divide. And yet everybody's united in one country still. But yeah,
totally.
It is crazy. It is a thing. Like, for me, it is like I'm going in another country, you know.
I need to change battery on the camera.
Okay.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. Because I always try to, I know in one of the first podcasts I did, in the middle of the podcast, the guy says to me, "Hey, Andoni, this feels like an interview. Talk every once in a while a bit about yourself. Maybe bring a point about your experience into it."
Yeah.
Because I never want to talk too much about myself. Yeah. So, and because that's pretty an easy thing to do, is just start talking. Like, that's the thing with, let's say you run a half marathon, you come to me, "Hey, Andoni, I just ran a half marathon, 21 kilometers." Yeah. And let's say I did a marathon. Yeah. And then I could easily say, "Yeah, I did a marathon a couple." Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I rather go like, "Hey, how did you prepare for it? How did it feel?" Yeah. And then after a while I can come, "You're such a pussy, I did a marathon."
Yeah, just set them up for it, is what you're saying. Yeah. Build them up for disappointment.
For disappointment. No, but then you can come with your experience, you know. That's something that I really want to cultivate, is to listen, you know. Listen good to the people. We have 2 ears and 1 tongue, and not 2 tongues and 1 ear. Yeah. And, you know, ask more questions, because that's like why a lot of people feel lonely, even though they have people around them, is
nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening. It's just topping one of you. Yeah. So that's why, like, keep it in a good balance about asking questions, but also bringing your own inputs into it.
I mean, it does feel like I should ask you a question now. Have you ever done a marathon yourself? Have you done a marathon?
No, never. No, like, the longest I did was like 15. I hate running and jogging.
All right. Wait, but you've done 15K. Is that what you're saying? 15K.
Yeah, no, 15 kilometers.
Well, I mean, that's pretty far.
Yeah, but it's
for somebody that hates running and jogging. Like,
like I'm more of you know, with the bicycle, like, more bicycle dude. But but jogging, it's not my cup of tea.
But you're big on cycling.
Cycling is my thing. Yeah, like
all right.
The other few weeks ago, I cycled in 1 day to Bern.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
220 kilometers.
Wow.
In 11 hours.
Yeah.
And it was great. That was awesome. That's if you do an Ironman, that's the cycling part is 220 kilometers. But then after swimming, I think it's swimming 3.5 kilometers.
Yeah.
Cycling 220 kilometers, and then you do a full marathon jogging. Come on, like
ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But how long do they take to do the 200 or 220 kilometers?
Oh, I think they do it in under 10 hours.
Yeah.
They go like full.
My God, I didn't realize it was that. I mean, how long does it take them to do the whole thing? What are we talking?
I think probably you're like
20 hours.
20. I think you're maybe a whole day. You're just wrecking yourself.
Brutal.
You're just destroying yourself.
My PhD supervisor, he did I think it's called the Inferno Challenge, something like that.
That already sounds.
It's unbelievable. He's like the most modest. I mean, super nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out my PhD supervisor.
Shout out.
Yeah. So you'd never, when you first meet him, he's just so modest, and he's clearly so established. I mean, he's a professional astrophysicist, right? Mm-hmm. But you just wouldn't immediately expect quite his achievements, And and my God. Yeah, it's like an Ironman. So there's cycling, swimming. He does loads of open water swimming. He loves that.
Yeah.
He's like an amphibian. He just swims so much. And at the end, the marathon is up the Shiltorn.
Shiltorn, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole thing, all the way up. That's the marathon. After you've done just the most ridiculous cycle and swim.
He doesn't need to prove anything. But then he finds something that is even harder to do. Yeah. Holy
incredible.
Crap, man. Yeah. I think open water swimming is one of the most horrifying things to do. Are you afraid of deep waters or so?
Not particularly.
Yeah.
But it just crossed my mind a little bit at times, yeah. And there was one time that when I was in Australia, there was this massive lake, amazing. But me and my friend decided to just swim out as far as we could or something. Just stupidity,
That's scary stuff.
And then when we're swimming back, I'm realizing, oh my God, I am so exhausted, and that was pretty scary.
You need to swim back.
Yeah, and you realize quite how far you've already swam out. It's just stupid stuff. But I think that really made me realize how terrifying it could be.
People die in that way.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Yeah. So but I also, that's another, in Switzerland, the culture of swimming in wild waters, because it's so available. I love it. The Aare in Bern.
Oh.
It's just unbelievable. I miss it so much in Basel. You got the Rhine, but...
You have the Rhine, yeah, but it's...
It's not the same.
The Aare also looks super clean.
Yeah.
The color.
Yeah.
You just want to jump in.
It's just... I could not believe it when I moved there. I just didn't... I didn't think water existed like this. You just think when you see pictures like this, it's edited loads. It can't be that blue.
Yeah.
What water is blue like that? The rivers in Britain, they're brown. And
just dark and
unbelievable.
Corpses in it.
And then when you swim on it, you can hear the pebbles underneath moving, and when your ears are under the water, you hear it, and it sounds like it's twinkling. It's just magical. I love it so much.
I can see you have a deep connection.
Yeah,
with the
God.
Aare. You have a tattoo somewhere.
No, not yet.
Not yet to come.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever go from Thun to Bern
in
a boat?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. How you liked it?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's my life. No,
hey, in 30 minutes I need to go. My boat is waiting.
No, I haven't done it for a while. I'd love to.
The customer of the year, Harry. That's a picture of you on.
Yeah. Have you done it?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
or last year or 2 years.
All right.
Did it, and it was.
Have you
got sunburned?
But easy done. Yeah, you're just exposed.
Totally. No, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's so true. I really wish St. Gallen would have. We have the Sitter.
Okay.
But it's, as you say, like just brown.
Yeah.
Like you said it with the rivers in England.
Yeah.
And like there's dead fish. It's like
right. Yeah.
You just don't want to put your toe in it. Like it's.
So there's nowhere people. Is there a lake or something that people swim in?
Oh yeah, I mean you can go to Bodensee, which is near.
Yeah.
We have the Dry Vion, but also Dry Vion is. I mean, you know, people go there to hang out and drink, get drunk, and you know they pee into it and throw bottles into it, cigars and.
Yeah.
So it's not nice. It also has this brown feeling, not so clean water to it. So so the Are I would rank as number 1. Yeah. Or you go to a lake in the mountains.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean I don't think I've been to lakes in the mountains, but I don't think I've ever swam in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should, like, if next time maybe we can make it also with Claudio, we should go to Sealpsee.
Yeah.
But not during or Fehlersee in Alpstein.
Yeah.
Which is not a long hike.
Yeah.
And it's super nice to swim in it.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Hell yeah.
Like,
I also love hiking.
You do it, yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys want to do a hike or something.
Of course, yeah.
Because I'd love to go in like eastern Switzerland. You know, I've not really explored around there as much. You know, the vast majority of places I've been are in the Berner Oberland, right?
Berner, yeah, that's huge. I mean, you have so many peaks and stuff to explore, yeah. But I mean, I'm super keen to show you the good places, of course, and take a swim in the cold lakes, But like, I mean, UK, you don't have like mountains. I mean, if you go to Scotland,
I mean, you don't. Barely anything that really qualifies as a mountain compared to here. Like Scotland, you've got real mountains, I guess. But like the tallest mountain, Ben Nevis, in Scotland, which is also the tallest in Britain, is only like 1,200 meters or something.
1,200, yeah.
Yeah, so it's it's barely a mountain by Swiss standards, and like in Wales, there's some mountainous area, but they're like. They're barely touching 1,000 meters.
But it's just a lot of hills, like,
but I mean, it's
not flat.
I think it does start to get in the territory of, you know, it's like rocky and it feels like a mountain on these ones in Wales. But everywhere else is basically just hills. Yeah. But like I lived in, I did my degree in Sheffield. Yeah, which is where Bring Me the Horizon from.
Yeah.
And While She Sleeps. And Malevolence. Apparently all my favourite bands are just from Sheffield. But that's based on, there's like 7 hills that the city is essentially built on. Yeah, so it's like one of the hilliest places in Britain. It's like stupidly hilly everywhere. And the roads, some of them are just...
just like steep as fuck.
Yeah. And there's some sort of legendary stories of me running to hand in like coursework and stuff because I'm right on the deadline, of course. Yeah, and like I'm running down this hill.
Dying.
Yeah, and there was one time that like it is a legendary story in terms of like my friends in Sheffield.
Bring me the story.
I always last minute, right? And in Sheffield, you had a document that you'd have to print off and it had a barcode on it, and you'd hand it in to this like box, and it was dead on the minute. You know, if you're a minute late, you're going to lose like 10% of your marks. And then it keeps going, and each day it's another 10% or something like that. And it's course, it means a lot, right? And so, I'm mega last minute. You know, I can't remember. Maybe I stayed up all night. It's very possible. And then it's like minutes. It's minutes before I need to hand it in, and I'm like, I think it was like a 15-minute walk or so to the place. And I've got less than 15 minutes to hand it in.
You had to run.
And I didn't even have a printer at home.
Oh, gosh.
So I needed to print it there as well.
Yeah.
Because it's got a library section as well. Yeah. So then I just sprint all the way down. I'm sprinting down this big hill. The speed, it's the fastest I've ever done it, you know. But I can't remember exactly how fast anymore. But at the time, because I would run there almost every day for whatever reason, I knew that this was my best time ever. It was a personal best.
Yeah.
And then I get there and then I realize, oh shit. And it's minutes now. I've got like 2 minutes or something to hand it in. And I realized I don't have my student ID card, which is how you operate the printer, right? So then I just come in, I'm dripping with sweat. And then I just beg anybody in the room, like, somebody please, somebody print, could you just print this now? I need to go right now. Yeah. And then print it off, run down, hand it in. And it was like...
last second.
Yeah, it was like, I had like 30 seconds to go, right?
30 seconds to...
But I looked at the clock, right? And I knew I handed it in time, right? And then a few days later, I get an email saying, you handed it in late.
Oh,
right?
no.
And then...
it was for nothing.
No, but then I immediately argued, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I got it back. But like they were trying to convince me that
that you've been late.
And I was like, absolutely not. I know 1,000,000%, right? There was so much that went into this. I looked at
you
that
risked
clock.
your life.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah. And so they must have taken it in early.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's just a million stories like that for me. But I've always managed to do it. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. It's that steep road you had to run down. That's where the connection was with the
with the hills.
Running
in hills.
Running to the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And yeah, risking life for the fucking yeah.
Yeah. Have you I mean, seems like you work an insane amount. Have you done many all-nighters in your life?
Oh, if I did. In terms of school, I'm horrible. I was not a good student.
Yeah.
Never. Like I had like 2 like really bad grades, really.
Right.
So, but in terms of stuff that I'm interested in, I don't know if I have ADHD or I don't know, but I can get like if something interests me, I always do it in an extreme way. Yeah. Like not in a normal way, always in extremes.
Right.
Also, with I don't know, biking or photography and all that stuff. Or back in the days it was video games or when I was younger. Yeah. So it's always I need to do it a lot. Yeah. I want to get good at it and but if it doesn't ignite a flame in me. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah, and that was the problem in school.
In school, there was a huge problem.
Yeah,
because like maybe I'm dumb. I don't know, but I don't.
I mean, I don't think so. Right?
I don't think I'm stupid. Like, but I hear it like my whole life during school. Like, if Andoni would want to, if he would want to, but I just never wanted to. Like, I didn't care about all that stuff, like. Yeah. But I did, to answer your question, sorry, I'm branching out in all different directions. In terms of, work now, photography and, having my own company, heck yeah. I mean, sometimes working all night to finish something. Yeah. And I feel really like I also need deadlines. Yeah. That's what that really fuels my fire, it ignites something in me. Yeah. When I have like, not chronic stress, but acute stress, acute stress. Acute stress. It's I like that when there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah. I don't know, like the last week has been like super busy. Yeah. And yesterday, I came home at 3:00. Today I woke up at 8. Yeah. Put all. This really makes my body work full. Like, but with things I like. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's the key, yeah.
That's key because I think as a human being, what really drains your energy is doing things you don't like. Yeah. But if you can do things you like and, 12 hours a day, it will be not bad. It will be, think good. Yeah. And maybe nowadays why so many people struggle with, with job and everything is because maybe they didn't find the right thing to do yet. Yeah. And that's why it's so a job. I know it from the job I had before for 8 years doing a job I don't like. Yeah. It's exhausting, man. Yeah. It drains your energy. It's not good, Yeah. So that's why it's awesome you found your way at such a young age what were you, 20 when you went in the direction of physics? Something around that?
Well, I mean, the beginning of it was when I was like 16, 17. Yeah. But then it really, when I started my degree, I was 18. So that's like the real beginning. Yeah.
And that's awesome that you at a young age you already more or less know, this is something that I'm super interested in.
Yeah, it's true. But then I've always found strong interest in stuff that isn't really practical.
Like,
no, yeah. No, I meant... True.
Sorry I brought that up. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you also can do it?
Yeah, I can do that. Of course.
Awesome.
What do you mean? All these things. That's my life. But,
but you can also do that.
What, that?
Yeah.
No. What? I'm not sure what you're doing. Yeah. Wait, with your tongue?
Yeah, with the tongue. Yeah, you're getting... Yeah.
But whistle at the same time.
It's whistling, but like your tongue is super floppy, like... Yeah.
I can't do that, to be fair. Give me a week.
It's in the next song you put out, there's a section where you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like being really driven and motivated for things that are very sort of abstract in many ways, like astrophysics. I think a large part of my attraction to it was that it's so far from a practical thing. It's like just pure interest and what's the word I'm looking for? Curiosity, just pure curiosity, and nothing else. There's no like sort of practical reason.
Yeah.
And it's fundamental as well. So then trying to translate that into like industry, which is then the direction I've gone, has been difficult because I just naturally drifted the other way anyway. Like I've never liked engineering at all. I didn't like building Lego as a child. If somebody gave me as a present, sometimes you'd get those things, like maybe it's an owl or something. And then you have to glue it together or put the pieces together in the right way. You didn't like that? No, I hated it. But I liked the idea of having it at the end. So I would just give them to my brother to do. And then he'd give it me back and I'd put it in my room.
Yeah.
Because it was my gift, right?
But when people ask you, did you build that all together? Did you give credits to your brother? Yeah.
Oh, I think probably. I don't think anybody asked me. But like most people say that it's the doing it that they love.
Yeah, the process.
Yeah, but for me, like practical stuff like that, I've just never found interest in. It's like is it possible? That question.
Yeah.
That's what fascinates me on a fundamental level. And then as soon as I know that's true, I don't want to have to get bogged down with like the money and the finance of it and all the other stuff that some people love. They love the challenge of really putting it into the real world, but just not for me.
You like the abstract things in life, the surreal, how do you say, the unknown.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe, with planets, astrophysics, which is, maybe it melts a bit with your interest for traveling, which is also going into the unknown.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect until you dig deep but
also the deadline thing and similar to what you were saying of like I like it when everything's packed in and there's loads of stuff going on that you enjoy. Like traveling is that. It's like it's so intense. At least the way that I would like to travel is so intense. It's like every day we're going to do this, and this, and you don't know what's going to happen, and there's going to be loads of challenges that you have to overcome. And some people just hate that. They need to know where they're going to sleep, what they're going to eat, where they're going to be, who
everything
they're going to
planned.
Yeah, and for me,
you don't need that.
No, and I actually love the lack of a routine.
Yeah,
I think I struggle with routine. Yeah.
So you wake up every day a bit different, or
100%. I really struggle to follow a routine, and
does it bother you?
Sometimes, in terms of it being a hindrance, like for getting stuff done and doing jobs and stuff. But yeah, you've just got to accept it, I guess. Yeah, but yeah.
But more of a morning or evening person, probably.
Yeah, but I wish I wasn't. It's just it ends up becoming that way. Yeah. But again, it's accepting it, I guess.
accepting who you are and how you work, finding the time in the day where you work the best, and when we always come a bit back to the astrophysics things, and we talked in the beginning.
Yeah, it's time for you to tell me how much you've learned, right?
Yeah, it's now time for the Sputnik, Planitia.
Hell yeah.
And Pluto, and the heart-shaped crater that happened there, and the nitrogen that is covering Pluto.
Oh, you know some stuff.
The ice over it, but the rocky core.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I...
Well, what else can I say? You've just described everything, right?
Yeah, so...
nailed it.
Why did you pick that subject? I mean, Pluto is it's not anymore seen as a planet. It's a dwarf planet.
Yeah.
But it's in the belt, that outer belt, the
Kuiper belt, yeah.
Kuiper belt, yeah. And I mean, one question could be, why should we research on something that doesn't influence our lives?
Yeah.
Like, why should we
care?
Why should we care?
Yeah.
Why should we care about that?
I mean, I think there's many answers to that question, right? Like, obviously, in a practical sense, we have a finite amount of money. So I understand why people would be concerned with us spending so much money on it and stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't fully answer that question, but on a fundamental level, I think we've succeeded so much as a species because of pure curiosity. And
that's true. Yeah.
And also, you just never know when it's something so fundamental. When you're really pushing the boundaries of science, you're working on a level where you could discover something that is like fundamentally changes the way that we understand everything, and that in the end could have massive practical benefits. Like, it's kind of space and everything. It's the perfect test environment for things that we would never witness on Earth, but we could actually maybe create and use on Earth, but we'd never see it naturally, and you'd never even imagine it because you only discover it through researching them. Like, for instance, Einstein and all that. I mean, he's so famous and everybody knows that, but I think a lot of people probably don't perceive really how it affects them personally.
The influence Einstein has on us nowadays.
But there's a massive influence. The massive, the reason he's so famous is because he was a pioneer in understanding extremely fundamental things about the universe that affect many, many things that we use now today. Like understanding gravity, for instance, on this extreme fine level. Like, we knew it from Newton for such a long time, and that is, it works extremely well in the vast majority of situations in the universe. It's not like he's wrong. But when you get to some extreme situations, or you need to be ultra precise, like on a millisecond level, then it fails to predict certain things. And that's one of the things that Einstein did, is a new theory where Newton's theory is like a special case. It's not like he disproved it, but he found that in certain scenarios, then it differs quite drastically from what Newton proposed. And now, for instance, with satellites, for us to communicate with them, and like GPS systems, it's extremely important that they need to be on the millisecond level of knowing when the signal is going to be received between the two. And it turns out, we know from Einstein's theories that gravity actually affects the time it's going to take for the light to travel, because the light's being bent by gravity, and we would never have understood that without Einstein. And if you don't take that into account, you'll be out by several kilometers. You'd never be able to precisely locate people with GPS, and GPS is like a massive part of almost everybody's lives now. But there's just countless examples of that. And so if we really want to make breakthrough steps as a species, we have to push the boundaries. And beyond that, I think it's extremely interesting, right?
Fuck yeah. It is.
There's like, astrophysics is an interesting, super technical subject that connects with most people. The amount of people I meet that are so excited when I tell them that I've done a PhD in astrophysics. But if I said I did a PhD in like eye health or something, most people would kind of switch off immediately, even though it's super influential for a hell of a lot of people. It's really important, and for a lot of people, like, ultra interesting. But people don't connect with it. You know, space is this thing that's like instinctively interesting to us as humans, I think. So if there's a lot of people that interest, why not explore it? You know? Yeah. So that's my long answer to that question.
It's a good answer. Yeah, it's maybe the unknown is what attracts us to the universe. I mean, I think but then again, the ocean is also part of our lives that is not very, I mean, I think like 20% is explored.
Yeah.
The rest is unknown from the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's, how you say, but you say it right, the humans, it's kind of in our DNA to explore.
Yeah.
And, you know, it started with finding America.
Yeah.
I mean, Native Americans have already been there, but for us European to explore and expand, sometimes in a bad way.
Yeah. But it's clearly intrinsic to us.
But it's like, it's somehow the logical thing to do. So why not explore the planet which is farthest away in our solar system?
Yeah.
Which is Pluto.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Maybe there's a connection. Maybe researching there brings us answers here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But if you never start digging, you will never find maybe a connection for something, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's you could also say, like, with going to Mars.
Yeah.
Which is Mars is the only planet which you could live as a human, or
in the most conventional way.
Yeah,
probably. There's others that people have talked about. Yeah, like I've read things about Venus. Venus is like hell. It's just a hell planet.
Venus.
Yeah, it's insane because it's so similar to us. If you were to just look at it, like if we were observing it from another solar system, then Earth and Venus would look almost identical. You know, and if we were looking at Venus, would be like all these studies we do on exoplanets and stuff. It would be like, oh my God, you know, we found a second Earth.
Yeah.
But then you look at Venus.
It's not.
It is hell.
Why that? Why?
Because it's got an extremely thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
And other things as well, other greenhouse gases. So even though in where it is from the sun, it should have a very similar temperature to us, it's actually like hundreds and hundreds of degrees on the surface. Like raining sulfuric acid. Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But
I will never complain about rain again here in Switzerland.
And it's and it's an interesting test case of like global warming and everything. You know, like we see it on the planet next to us, and we don't know. Maybe in the past, at some point in Venus's history, it wasn't like that, and it was just like Earth and livable.
Yeah.
But there was a trigger. And it's just gone and gone and gone and gone. And now the greenhouse gases are so strong that it is just hell on, not Earth, hell on Venus, but hell.
Yeah.
But there's people that say that you could, there's a certain place in the atmosphere where you could fill it with like a certain gas and you would just float. And we could all live in like Zeppelins. Because the benefit of a very thick atmosphere is it protects you from a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think, does Venus have a good magnetic field? I'm not actually sure. I couldn't say for sure. But that's the big problem with Mars, that it has a very, very weak magnetic field. And that's what protects us on Earth.
Yes, we have a high magnetic field.
Yeah, from like cosmic rays and stuff. That's what the aurora are, you know, like the northern lights.
Northern lights, is it because of a high magnetic field that the...
That's like radiation basically coming in from space.
Yeah.
Like space is full of extremely like energetic, powerful radiation, which would make us very, very ill and kill us quite quickly.
Yeah.
But it's deflected essentially by our magnetic field. And when it's deflected, you see these lines in the sky.
Yeah. And is it like because light from hits those magnetic field, like those energies.
Yeah.
And so we see it because light hits it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But especially during colder periods, like when it's.
Yeah, well, I think that's more. Well, to be fair, I'm not an expert on it. I would assume it's largely because it's clearer sky, so you can just see it easier.
Yeah. When it's cold, you have more. Yeah.
Because we're constantly being bombarded by all these rays and stuff, and that's in like even in the moon.
The rays
on the moon. You're still protected from our magnetic field, and this is why it's such an immense challenge for us to travel to Mars. That's the biggest problem.
It's the weak magnetic field.
Yeah, because it's like you're under the strongest like X-ray just constantly.
It's like radiation, shitload of radiation that you were exposed to.
Yeah.
So it would be like, I don't know, Chernobyl. You're there, and it's is it like the same type of radiation? It's the same. It's
really powerful. Yeah.
Also, our ancestors.
Yeah.
How they oriented themselves was always with the sky, with the stars, and which is something nowadays I think nearly nobody can do.
Yeah.
So the also how civilizations used to build their buildings, in which directions and how and stuff, is always oriented by the stars. You see so many similarities from ancient cultures.
Yeah.
How they built. So it's pretty logical to, hey, we want to explore this area above our heads.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest sciences, astronomy.
Yeah.
I mean, the history of astronomy is fascinating as well.
Yeah.
Tell
me.
Well, one part that's really interesting is it was so driven by the church in the past. Because, of course, in the past, especially the Catholic Church had, it's like this dominant power with loads of money, and also the people that were kind of the academics, especially in the European world, they're the people that can write, because a lot of people couldn't write, of course. And it's exploring the heavens, right? And understanding more what God has given to us. But the problem is they started to see things that contradicted their beliefs, right? And so then now, of course, there's this big, it's like science versus religion is like a big topic. But in the past, it was one and the same, and so many really prevalent astronomers of history were also extremely prominent in the Christian faith. Yeah. Which is fascinating. But because we used to think that the Earth was the center of the universe, right? Just naturally, that's where your brain would go, right?
It's pretty egoistic way of thinking.
Yeah, but if we believe that we've been created and we are in God's image, then why not? Why on earth would we not be the center? Because we are the most important things in the universe.
We're the most evolved.
Well, animal
on this planet.
Yeah, but in terms of especially like traditional Christian view, we are in God's image, right?
Yeah, Adam and Eve. Yeah, He created us. And
we are the pinnacle of life in many ways. So of course we would be the center, right? But then discovering that actually the sun is the center, massive, right? That changes the whole view of the universe. Yeah.
Also finding out that the Earth is not flat.
Yeah. But apparently that one is like people believe, but not as much as people thought, apparently. It was like a lot of people did already know, or at least were confident that the Earth was round. And even like the Greeks were talking about it.
That it is flat. I think it's rectangular. I think the Earth is a spoon. From how is it? God damn it! Where it's on an elephant and 4 elephants, a turtle, and then a flat Earth on it. I think it's a British.
Wait, it's a British thing.
Yeah, how's the name of him? But it's a fantasy.
What? Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then people used to think like it's the Earth is flat back in the day. Like, and then who came up with that? Galileo Galilei. Yeah, it was him.
I think it was him. Yeah. Well, he's credited with it.
He's
but
credited
I don't
with it.
know
Yeah.
how true that is historically.
Yeah.
Because as I say, I think a lot of people. I think he was credited with it. I don't know. I get mixed up. I'm not that great.
Yeah,
Even though it's fascinating, I forget the specifics of the figures. Yeah.
I'm because like people will listen to this. I'm always a bit like if I'm not 100% sure with things, facts and stuff, then
especially me. I've got a PhD in astrophysics. You know.
But you were talking about the history of astronomy.
Yeah.
How church.
Yeah.
And astronomy was really connected, but then
now there's a big
somehow divided.
Yeah.
Or because then physics came with the theory of the evolution theory, how the Earth was created with the Big Bang.
Yeah.
And stuff, but church or religion still had this idea of the 7 days, how God created.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, I think it doesn't matter because I mean, believe whatever makes you. I don't know if I can say this, because we will probably never know 100% what is true, or can we know it? What is how Earth was created for like.
We can say with some pretty good confidence.
We can.
It's, it depends. Eventually there's enough evidence for us to say that it's probably fact, right? But then
we can say it's a fact.
I think it just depends on what question you're asking. Like the question of why, if you feel the need for an answer of why, is very hard to provide in science. Like a real underlying fundamental reason that's given by religion. In many ways. But in terms of, for instance, knowing that the Earth is a certain age, right? We know that absolute because that there's fun. We can test the rocks, and from the chemical analysis of it, we can predict quite precisely how old something is. And there's just no question on that front. And then there's many, many ways that you can understand what Earth may have been like in the past.
Yeah.
It's almost certain that it that it had a magma ocean at the beginning.
Magma ocean, yeah. That's the what was I saying, the metaphorical. It's the manlier version of caterpillar becoming a butterfly. That's the process for a planet until between creating itself and then becoming a hard crust, or like that's the magma ocean. That's that.
Yeah, the step in between.
Yeah, the meta transformation.
Yeah, and that in in many ways is sort of a distinction as well between like full-size planets and dwarf planets are the weird in between. But like things that are smaller, like an asteroid or something, then there's no reason to think that it's ever been fully molten.
Yeah.
So they are fundamentally different to a planet. Whereas a planet, it's so big, the amount of energy that's involved because they don't start big. That we know with almost certainty.
They grew.
Yeah.
They grow.
At the beginning, it's extremely fine, small particles of dust.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's a big hot topic of debate of exactly how this happens, because there's a lot of things that are quite difficult for us to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost certain that they start very small and then they get bigger and they collide into each other and merge in some way or another. And of course, there's so much energy as they come together and collide, and so that melts everything. And on top of that, there's also a lot of radioactive elements. And when you push them all together in a dense space of rock, over time, that releases a huge amount of heat as well. So that's another reason that things are getting molten in planets. Yeah. But we see it on Earth very clearly, because we know that there's a distinctive crust at the top, and it changes dramatically in the composition.
The lower you go.
Yeah, it's not like you just dig here and you get this, and then it's just a random bunch.
It's all around the globe.
Yeah, there's a structure like an onion, I guess.
Just like right beneath, we have the permafrost coming right after, or how you call it in English.
Yeah, the permafrost.
Permafrost, yeah, like that which is always frozen.
Yeah.
Always beneath 0 degrees.
Yeah.
Which is like super important for. And so you have that all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like as you go further inside the planet.
Yeah, more in. Yeah.
Like really deep.
Really deep, yeah.
Yeah.
Not a few meters, yeah.
then yeah. And the only way we really understand that crust could be forming like that is that it's floating up in this ocean, and the least dense things are going to float to the top naturally, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we have volcanoes for seeing what stuff is.
It's coming up.
It's coming up. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I think one last thing. It's maybe super barbaric to ask, but aliens.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking of space, universe, there's also comes the question: is there life out there?
Yeah.
And for me, I always think to be alone in this universe is scary.
Yeah.
And also to have other life out there is scary. I think both ideas are super scary somehow.
True.
So, and for me, I think there's life out there. I can't imagine that we are the only ones.
Yeah.
That's just like, I don't think that's possible. Like,
I mean, the chances, at least from my perspective, like I'm not religious as well, so that helps to also not feel like we're going to be so particularly special in that sense. The vastness of the universe is just absolutely mind-blowing. And all we know now from studying and finding other planets is that they're very, very common planets. Like, it's basically every single star is expected to have at least one planet around it.
Which is...
We know that there's just...
life.
Unfathomable number of stars. So when you just look at it from a statistical standpoint,
the chances are pretty high.
I mean, the closest thing to certain that you could possibly have. These numbers are just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So that has to be in the universe. Other planets almost identical to ours in every way. Like the same distance, the same size, the same atmosphere, the same size star. There's enough stars and enough planets for that to happen multiple times over. So the conditions are there. That's the only question of like, if there's some reason. That's the thing we really don't know, is like, how does life really start? Given, is it common? Is it, if you give it all the right conditions, that life will just naturally form? Or is there something else that we don't know about that's like another reason that we're unbelievably fortunate? But even then, it's so vast, and we don't even have like the universe we know. You reach a point where it takes light the entire age of the universe, because we know the universe is finite. That is basically a fact.
It's finite.
It started. There's a beginning, and we know the age.
Not in terms of how you say, as a volume.
No.
Not, but in terms of time.
Yeah.
That it started somewhere.
Yeah.
And
because it's expanding, and we can go back.
Uh-huh.
We know 100% it's expanding, and when you look in the Big Bang, it's like that controversial thing. I think it's a lot less controversial now, but like scientifically as a theory, there's so much independent evidence. It's not just one thing we found that suggests. There's many things that we didn't understand, and then the only solution you can get pretty much is that it started from an extremely small point 14.5 billion years ago. No, not 14.5, like 14. I think 13.8 or something. I don't know. But anyway, the crazy thing that I was getting to is that we know, like, travel has a finite speed. Wait, what? Light has a finite speed. We know that for sure. That there's, again, with Einstein's theories and everything,
it doesn't get faster.
Yeah, like that is his core idea, and it is incredible what we've managed to understand and prove based just on that concept.
Yeah.
Really mind-blowing. And so that has to be true. And so that means that when we look at things in the universe, it's in the past, right? You probably already know that. And so that means that there's a specific distance at which it's taken the whole age of the universe to reach us. But what's beyond that? Well, we can't possibly, it's absolutely impossible. Light cannot have reached us by this point in time. So we can't see beyond that. And just that distance is what we know is the universe, the observable universe, as they call it. And only in that is just an unfathomable number of stars and planets. But even beyond that, we don't know. It might be another of that same distance, and another, and another. It could be. We've no idea how big the real universe is. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, now we just get to really extreme theories. But
bring them.
But a lot of people think about if there's a multiverse. It's funny we've reached this topic as you're gonna.
No, it's like now we're getting into interstellar stuff, like with fourth dimension and.
Well, there's fundamental questions of like why the universe is how it is, and for me it feels a lot more. But this is speculation now. It's very hard to prove.
Yeah, we can speculate. This is not fact. What we are going to say.
Like. There's fundamental laws in physics that we know have to be followed, and there's a lot of numbers there that are just fixed, like the speed of light, for instance. Mm-hmm. Why is it that number, right? It could be any number.
The pyramids.
It's all the aliens, but and all these numbers put together are in such a way that it's possible for planets to form, and it's possible for stars to form, and all the right conditions for us to exist. But if you just tweak them just a little bit,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like you would never be able to form a star. It would just be an empty void of nothingness, or just irradiation, and matter's never formed. But we're in a position where we can sit here and talk about it. So either you can say, well, it was designed that way. That would be the sort of religious standpoint, or a more way that aligns better with the way that we understand science and most other rules in the universe is that we only see it that way because we exist in it. So in reality, there's an infinite number of other universes with any combination of these rules.
Maybe
but
different.
Most of them fail. No life exists, or they don't ever expand, or it doesn't allow for the things to have happened for us to happen. And then that would make sense, right? That would make sense that there's all these other universes, but life can't exist in them. And the only reason that we're sat here speaking is because we happen to have existed in the one that allows life to exist, right? But that is fascinating in itself, because that means that there might be, not only is the universe like, it might be essentially infinite, but you've got an infinite number of those infinite universes, right? Yeah. So we went really left field, but
no, let's go even more left field. Yeah,
but people do tests and stuff to try and prove it. We might, you never know. But there might be some interaction between these universes, and we could prove it. That would be incredible.
Yeah, to see which rules apply to other universes.
Yeah,
what are the maybe there you need to use other numbers, or as you say, maybe it's so abstract. It's the same maybe like imagining a new color. Yeah. It's right now we cannot imagine how life could be different in those universes. But already in our Milky Way we have from between 100 to 400 billion stars.
Yeah.
So that's already something to dig deeper and search.
Yeah.
Universe is kind of like that next step, but that's just so far away. It's beyond our imagination.
Yeah. And that's it, and
it's speculation.
Yeah. But you've got to try, right? And then you might discover something that proves it.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? But yeah, have you seen that image, the Hubble deep space image, or deep something?
The picture of the depth of the black hole, or
no, it was just in the concept of there's hundreds of billions of stars just in the Milky Way.
Yeah.
But then there's an image which was, at the time, I think the deepest we'd ever looked into space, or definitely the deepest kind of survey where we're looking at a larger area. And it was just this tiny, tiny spot in the sky, and they just looked at it for days, weeks. I can't remember how long it was. but just keep taking in light, so we can look at something unbelievably dim, and then what you see is it's just everything is just every single point is just filled with a galaxy. You know, not these aren't stars. Every one.
Holy shit! Yeah. Just
and they're tiny, right?
Yeah.
And that is just the tiniest little piece of the sky. And every one of those galaxies has got hundreds of billions of stars in it.
Just Milky Ways everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just mind-blowing, you know, the scale. Yeah.
It hearing this, it makes me like somehow, like it's humbling.
Yeah.
Makes me feel small, like all my problems are not important when you put it in scale, when you hear stuff like that.
Yeah.
When you see multiple galaxies.
Yeah.
Next to each other.
Yeah.
That gives me such a strange feeling. Like I feel so like cosmic in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's now we'll go study astrophysics.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's super interesting. It's super. We could go here forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an interesting topic. But I really feel the excitement out of you talking about astrophysics, and it's fucking I start because I read the stuff you sent me. I read it, and I started then looking other things, and and then I was
going down the rabbit hole.
Super fast. So I'm happy there are people like you who study this and bring answers to questions, and also it's make that we evolve as a species. Otherwise we will still dancing around a fire, or not even a fire, just throwing sticks at each other. So but I think this is a good place to land the plane. To call it a day from my side. Or is there one thing I want to know?
Oh, go.
What do you miss from England?
I don't know, a lot of things. I miss pubs. I miss the beer real bad. You can get pretty good beer here, but it's so widespread.
Germany right next to us. Come on.
German beer just doesn't. It's not varied. It's I love like Weiss beer.
Weiss beer.
Yeah, that's good, and that's something that's not so easy to get in Britain. But the variation of beer in Britain, and it's the cheapest pint as well. That's the thing here. Like real ales and stuff, you pay a really high price for.
You go broke.
In Britain, it's the cheapest pint you can get in the pub.
Yeah.
Oh God, I miss that. And then the metal scene. I'm in the metal scene here, so I shouldn't complain. But the shows in Britain are just next level.
Come on, you're from the UK. You can compare.
And especially in the style that I love, and everything I was talking about, how it's not quite as big in Switzerland in the core scene. It's big enough and everything, especially in younger people, but it's so big in the UK.
Yeah.
And so the shows that you get to see there, and everybody just knowing the words, because it's so much easier for people to learn the words in English.
Yeah.
It's just, I miss that as well. And food and stuff. There's
Fish
people really shit on English food, but I grew up with it. And Indian food. I love Indian food. Yeah. But anyway, okay, that's my answer, and we should end, and I should do things with the band.
Yeah. All right. So Harry, thank you so much for taking the time. I think we're hitting the 3 hours mark.
Hell yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and I wish you all the best for the new job you will have. You have a job, you said, right? In 6 months.
That's another complex answer, but I probably will have a new job soon.
Yeah.
So basically got it on Friday.
All the best there. We didn't talk about being a dad.
No.
Also wanted to talk, but also just in general, all the best, and
you too.
Really for Magma Ocean, it's happy that you found a group of people where you can express yourself.
Hell yeah.
That's I'm really happy for all of you guys. Really, it's a pleasure to be around you.
Yeah, you too, man. You too. God, it feels like a final farewell. You know, like this is the last goodbye.
I don't know why I get emotional now. I'm oh fuck it. Yeah. I'm gonna kick some baby seals later too.
To level it out.
Level it out. Yeah. No, but yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And bam. Yeah. So this is it. This is Harry Ballantyne.
Hell yeah.
And hope you enjoyed. And have a nice day.
Yeah.
Peace.
See you later.
See ya.